Under public international law, the distinction between these two entities is rooted in formal treaties, UN General Assembly declarations, and customary international law. The differences emerge when analyzed through specific articles, conventions, and international legal principles. 1. Legal status and state continuity. The primary distinction lies in state continuity versus non-state dissidence. A government in exile operates under a recognized existing legal identity, whereas a protest organization is attempting to generate a new legal status from the ground up. Government in exile, peaceful redeclaration. The principle of jus post limine. This customary international law doctrine dictates that when an illegally occupied or overthrown state is restored, its legal status and properties return to their original sovereign, the ex injuria jus non oritur rule. This core tenet establishes that legal rights cannot arise from an unlawful act. Because a foreign invasion or illegal domestic coup is an unlawful act, the legal status of the legitimate government is not extinguished by its physical displacement. The Montevideo Convention, 1933. Article 1 establishes the criteria for statehood. A. Permanent population. B. Defined territory. C. Government. And D. Capacity to enter relations. International law recognizes that a government in exile maintains these criteria virtually, even if it temporarily lacks physical effective control over its territory due to illegal force. The peaceful redeclaration is an assertion of this unbroken legal thread. Agitation and protest organization. Status of domestic dissidents. Under traditional international law, an organization utilizing agitation or protest within an existing state is viewed strictly as an internal domestic movement. It lacks international legal personality. No institutional continuity. Because the organization does not stem from a pre-existing recognized state apparatus, it does not possess jus post limine. It cannot rely on the virtual fulfillment of the Montevideo Convention criteria because it has never formally held them. 2. The scope of self-determination in the UN Charter. Both entities may invoke self-determination, but international law defines and treats their claims through entirely different legal mechanisms. Claims to self-determination, internal, external. Protest, / agitation movements, governments in exile, governed by UN Charter Art 1-2, governed by UN Res 1514, Sec 6. Limited by territorial integrity, asserts statehood and sovereignty. Agitation and protest organization, internal self-determination. UN Charter Article 1-2 outlines the purpose of the UN to develop friendly relations among nations based on respect for the principle of equal rights and self-determination of peoples. However, for internal groups, this is legally interpreted as internal self-determination, the right to pursue political, economic, and social development within the framework of the existing state. The territorial integrity safeguard. This is the critical legal ceiling for protest movements. UN General Assembly Resolution 1514 X5, 1960, widely known as the Declaration on the Granting of Independence to Colonial Countries and Peoples, explicitly restricts how self-determination can be applied. Paragraph 6 of Resolution 1514 states, any attempt aimed at the partial or total disruption of the national unity and the territorial integrity of a country is incompatible with the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Therefore, an agitation organization attempting unilateral secession outside of strict colonial contexts, alien subjugation, domination, or exploitation, violates Article 2.4 of the UN Charter regarding the territorial integrity of member states. Government in exile, external self-determination. When a government in exile issues a peaceful redeclaration, it is exercising external self-determination. It is not attempting to break apart an existing country. It is asserting its independence against an occupying power or illegal de facto regime. Because it represents a state whose sovereignty is already recognized, its redeclaration complies perfectly with UN Resolution 1514 X5 and UN General Assembly Resolution 2625 XX5, 1970. The Declaration on Principles of International Law Concerning Friendly Relations and Cooperation Among States. Resolution 2625 mandates that the territorial integrity of a state must be respected if it possesses a government representing the whole people without distinction. A government in exile claims to be that exact representative body, temporarily displaced. 3. Diplomatic standing and treaties. The operational capabilities of both entities are governed by international treaty frameworks regarding diplomatic relations. Legal dimension. Government in exile, agitation, protest organization, primary treaty framework. Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961. Domestic criminal constitutional law, treaty-making power. Retains jus tractatuum. can sign bilateral and multilateral international treaties. None. Any agreements made are domestic or political agreements without international weight. Diplomatic immunity. Host states can grant formal diplomatic immunities and privileges to its officials, subject entirely to the domestic jurisdiction and penal codes of the state they operate within. UN representation can maintain official observer status or hold a seat if recognized by the UN General Assembly, cannot access formal UN organs, limited to submitting NGO-level human rights petitions. Summary of the legal divergence. Under international law, an agitation and protest organization invoking self-determination is constrained by UN Resolution 1514, paragraph 6, which explicitly protects existing state borders from internal disruption. Its actions are viewed through the lens of internal politics or domestic law. Conversely, a government in exile utilizing a peaceful redeclaration relies on the customary international law principles of state continuity, jus postimineae, and the Montevideo Convention, to preserve a legal identity that already belongs to them under the international system.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are domiciled in this world. As I welcome you, please, I want you to welcome another person by like, share, and your comments. That is how you are helping the message to go far. We are here to make you to understand where we are at this time and what we're supposed to be hearing and what we're supposed to be doing and where we need to take our challenges to and where we have to go all out and query the world and ask them what is holding them to accept us quickly. These are the areas I want us to be touching hand, and for others to see all the message. You have a work to do with me. Only one thing. The page is not monetized, so what I ask you is to support by doing one thing. Only like and share the program is how you are helping me or how you are helping the message. You are helping the message to go. That is why it is very important at this stage. Whenever you come, you like to share. On that note, I welcome you as I greet my President, Maazị Nnamdi Okukano. I greet my Prime Minister Simon Ibanjoko. I greet you, my DP Onotongozi Orabeze, the mother of the old continuity of Biafra into a united state of Biafra. I thank you, I salute you, I encourage you to do more because the game is in your court. So you have to stay the course with all your mind. To know that your sons and your daughters want this freedom by any possible means is one of the most important things at this stage. As you are doing your own quota, we, the Biafran citizens of Biafra, we also need to do our own quota by supporting the government of the US declared for us to achieve recognition because we are into this together. That is why I urge every Biafran. Saturday is on the corner. Please come with your fundraising, fund your original and the authentic government that is giving you the lost country, united state of Biafra back, please. That is why I urge you to do that one thing by funding and supporting the government of USB redeclared. Honestly, on today's program, we are going to touch light a lot of things based on our headline. It is very important that as you come, please relax your mind. We are here on a different mission. We are here with a different message that has never been introduced to us. In 14 years of IPOB organization, that this message only introduced to us at this stage with the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa Njoku, who introduced a full structure of government in exile to us. That is why we are letting you to understand that the only job and the work we have to do relies on you as be declared as of this time that we are into. So any other thing that could not allow you to understand that the only government you have and the only way to achieve Biafra as a country and why Biafra fell in 1967 till November the 29th, 2024 is because of there is no government in exile. There is no transition. Because in all history line, all the organizations that was fighting for a country to exit from different countries in the world, both in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, all of them transitioned into a government in exile after 30 years that ended in 1990 to 1991. Many of them becomes a full nation. And I want to understand that many of them lost their country. Why they are fighting to exit? As they lost their country, all of them traveled and went into a full structure of government in exile that Obato Obie give us. The number one reason Biafra fell in 1967 to 1970. After that, when we lost the battle, we could have transitioned into exile in Ivory Coast, in Gabon, the four African countries, the World Organization, or even Tahiti that recognized Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, Biafra Republic government, Biafra Republic, 1967 to 1970. If we could have transitioned in the era of between the 1960s to the era of 1991 is all the era of government in exile in Africa. This is all the era of government in exile in Africa. That every country in Africa that transition into exile, all of them are a country today. So it's only we that never transition into exile. We are that part that have never become a country. When we go more deeper, you find out that the government in exile was the only simple way that when we end the war, there can be a better option for us. Or even when Ojukwu run into exile, forming government in exile is the simplest way that we could have achieved our country. And by today, all of us might not be here, and all these saboteurs will be on a very bad party in Biafran territory, where we'll be knocking them off. I also sincerely want you to understand that now, through US declared, we are calling attention of the world, according to the international community, to understand that we have implemented all the international law and we have accepted it by when from the day of the 1960, from the day of 2023, that Obato be a fully registered, established government in exile, and proving that the work of the government in exile is to issue official redeclaration of a lost country into in continuity of a new one with the name entitled United States of Biafra. It is very important that we all understand this at this stage that we are into. No matter how you may disregard the message, but this is what made us that we're not a country really. The lack of the transition into exile, the lack of forming government in exile is one of the most important reasons why Biafra fell. Why do I say so? I have checked all around of those that transition into exile. between the 1960 to 1991, all of them are existing country today. All of them are what? Existing country today. That is why I am quite sure that Simon understand why Biafra fell in 1967 until the day he joins the movement. And he also understands that a way of protest agitation is not the way that no country in this world have lost their country and they use 1 million men march, they use protest, they use agitation for them to regain their country back. Or they said, we are doing this protest, because of we have made a declaration before that on that note, that as of now, that we are not going to declare it again, that we stand on that declaration of that first one. And that is why we are doing protests under human rights. And they achieve their country. It's never happened before. Rather, it can never going to happen at this our stage. When you go down to the history of all the countries and the laws and everything, you will have it clearly that those who lost it redeclare. Those who want new one, declare the new one. These are why you must understand that the only government in exile that exists in this world, in the eyes of every country, every government, is that government in exile that issue official redeclaration of a lost country. That is the only government in exile you have. Another one is fake. I sincerely want you to understand why US redeclared is the only way out. Nothing like IPOB organization, nothing like BGC, nothing like CRC. You see all these men, look at how they are dividing. Ask yourself, you that is following them, why can't you ask them one question? You fall out from USB declared. From you have fallen into CRC, you have fallen into BGC, you have fallen into PUK, and you keep on falling. And you, because of you have a gullible mind, you are following those people. You don't ask them, why do you know when you know that Oge Nkele will not do it well? He's not a right person. Why do you ask us to follow you when you move there? So far, those wrong people on the wrong path are the one making also a wrong decision for you. I sincerely want you to understand one thing from today. It doesn't matter how you feel. It is not about what we think. It's not about Nigeria. It is about legal paths that we win everything we wanted. I understand, make it clearly that the only way to achieve Biafra back is through a government in exile that issue official redeclaration and proving the capacity under effectiveness. That we have a structured government. A structured government, effective government, is that one that every office has human being that is working, not portfolio offices. And not those who will be here without contributing one thing. They can only come and listen to you, after they will go with misinformation. Any man who you are having a meet with and he refuses to contribute, I want to start him as a betrayer, as a saboteur. We, as the people of Biafra, I want you to understand that everything that we are doing right now after November 29, 2024, that is only the first time in this world that we have come to the legal path, how every other country in the world achieved their own country. Both those who lost and those new one, no group, organization, no country in this world they achieve their country today because of protest agitation. No. I repeat my word again. No country in this world is a country because of they are doing protest and agitation. There is a roadmap. There is criteria, there is rules, there is do's and don'ts how you get a country. Under that do's and don'ts how you get a country, that is where you has been declared had fall into. That is why the movement is moving smoothly, despite that you may doubt it. The doubt you have about you has been declared is what is going to lead you to cry, had I know at last. Like I always tell you, that I am here to tell you that your ignorance in the eyes of law can never be an excuse. And why Biafra has never been a country all these years is because of the ignorance that we are using. And there is no way you are on the path of ignorance of the law and you think that the law will come and work for you, or those who understand the law will now come you and dash you the law by themselves. No, you, the person, you are the one who must stand on the track of the law. Our ignorance of Biafra through a law has caused us many damage. And that is why we are here today. People, now we are on the side of that law. People have been think that they can use their propaganda, their lies, because of how much they want to make with the name of the Biafra and all the money they think they can be able to achieve. They refuse to adhere to the truth. I also want you to know the first declaration remains the first. And the first pre-declaration of a lost country, after the loss of that country, the first pre-declaration can never be changed by anybody. And that is one the law of all the international laws that we are ignorance of it for 57 years. We the people of Biafra under IPOB, we are ignorant of law. Those who are under BRIGI, BGC, CRC, the same ignorant of law is why they are messing up till today. That is why I sincerely want you to understand that we have just one thing to do: to stand on the side of law. Stop being on the side of the ignorance. And the white man says, ignorance is not an excuse in the eyes of the law. Ignorance is not an excuse in the eyes of the law. Our ignorance is why many Biafrans are being paid under the name of IPOB. What IPOB is doing is what they always project for someone, claiming they are the one. That is why I don't tell to let IPOB know that the level of Biafrans that was being massacred, that was being paid, that was being kidnapped, that was being buried alive because of IPOB after US redeclared has never happened again. The life we lost under IPOB organization protest, we will never lose it again. Do you know the level of life that we lost because of the name IPOB organization that was being declared by the Nigerian government terrorist organization? These are terrorist organization, and they use that their local power trying to intimidate us, trying to kill us, trying to butcher us, trying to arrest us, trying to force us to stay. And this political pressure group called IPOB that is ignorant of the template or the law or the guidelines how Biafra should be returned back to be a full sovereign nation. When you are telling them, they will think that the name IPOB is the way to how Biafra is a country. It can never be. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made it clearly. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu understand or he was expected IPOB after he was being kidnapped to transition into a government in exile, that he opened his mouth and prophesied that a time will come when the Biafran people will give the mandate to form government in exile. And he knew when he mentioned and said, I am tired of this broadcasting. Next thing that he said, that government in exile will be introduced, and when the mandate was given to the people of Biafra, the government in exile will be formed fully. He understands that Biafra will come via only through government in exile as the legal way. That is where he's trying to shift the movement from the local law to the international law by mentioning government in exile. When you follow due process through the law, everything becomes easy. Our overlong 57 years of ignorance is enough. Simon Abraham put an end to this long time ignorance of we all by understanding the words of Martin and the Kano, that the only way that we are going to achieve this, that is going to be possible, is through a peaceful transition into government in exile and issue of future redeclaration of our lost country, like every to 5 to 10 to 16 countries in Africa. This is how every other nations that lost their country have achieved it. And Simon Ebanjoko, the man who knows the international law, he brought us to international level. From that day, he registered Brigi. He registered government in exile. That is when he has moved us from the local law to the international law. Despite his arrest, what keeps him there is the international law of government in exile. Because the international law approved with all kinds of many laws, charters, treaties that backs up a government in exile. This is how Simon, the Erima, the one order that is the prime minister of people of United States of Biafra, bring us back to the existing line of the international law. He ends our ignorance. Once you believe in US be declared, you are no longer in the ignoramus level. You have changes to your movement to the international, and led them to understand that the only way we can get this Biafra is by the movement that we are into right now. It is very, very imperative that every Biafrans understand this clearly. It's very, very imperative that you allow your conscience to know the truth, and this truth is what shall set you free. Please, as you join us, I want you to like and share the program, please, because we want to put a very big disclaimer and establish why a peaceful redeclaration is the only way to achieve Biafra as a country. Why is it only through government in exile that issued a peaceful redeclaration is the only way that Biafra will be a country? And that is the only way we can be able to possess our territory. These are the things we need to know at this stage. These are the real truth, that our ignorance out of law is the problem. But I am happy that today that Simon Ekpa Njoku has made us to change our way, has put us on a track of law, that we are no longer ignorance against the law. That ignorance that never allowed Biafra to become a country. That ignorance that made you that you think that 1 million men march, protest is how you can achieve Biafra back. And that's ignorance that made you to think that, oh, Ojukwu has declared Biafra, you don't need to declare it again. That ignorance made you to think, oh, Ojukwu has declared Biafra, you don't have to declare it again. But that is not the level of the international law. Any of ignorance of us against law is the main thing that is keeping Biafra recognition. So today, we have proven to the world that we understand that this is how we will achieve this country, and we have go in through that way to achieve our country. So I ask you to like and share and comment. Through that means you are helping the program to go far. So I urge you to do me that one favor. Like and share the program so others may come to join us. Now, if you follow this, you may understand that Simon Ekpa reads every word, the meaning of every prophecy or every word that comes out from the mouth of our Holy One, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He understands that he said a time will come when we are going to form government. The people will give a mandate to form government in exile. As all this IPOB, did the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu mention about forming government in exile? They will always deviate from it because of what? The negativity and the ignorance of the law. The only law they know is law of command and control. And how can law of command and control become a way you will achieve your country? Why that there is already existing law that has been there before us? That's what? Why that there is already existing law that has been there before us to control us, to achieve Biafra as a country. Why that every other country in the world that lost their country quickly embrace and adhere towards this international law, this template that was out for anyone that want Biafra as a country? There is things that you need to be, questions that you need to be asking by now. And a lot of things is happening to you because of you are not asking those questions. What are those questions? Those questions are, why did the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu mention government in exile? Why? And you may ask, what is the work of government in exile? And also, do we need government in exile? Is that the protest wasn't enough? Until you start asking questions to those who you are worshiping as your leaders, that is when you will understand that everything that we are saying or we are doing here is what we have to do for the Biafran people to know that we are on the right track to achieve our nation at this stage. So on that note, I welcome you all. Please, as I welcome you, like I said, endeavor to welcome another person by like and share, subscribe if you never do so. When you subscribe, let your notification be on so you will know when we are live, because we doesn't have a specific time that we are coming live to see you or to discuss with you. So on that note, that is my preamble of my intro today. I am diving into the program fully. The headline is any arrested leader fighting for freedom with organization always judged with a local law. For GIE, Government in Exile, international law, they use words local law to judge anyone who is fighting with organization. Then they use international law to judge anyone who is fighting for freedom of his people. So we are letting Finland to understand that Finland should know that Simon Ekpanjoko must be used international law to judge his case, because he is a prime minister of a government in exile that issue a peaceful redeclaration of a lost country. And in Finland, we are going to help you to give you those charters of the law of the United Nations you are a member that you must implement in case of Simon Ekpanjoko, because he is a prime minister of a government in exile, a structured government in exile that represents the indigenous people, a country where your grandfather supported. So we want to see difference of these two things today. You know, every day we come here, how the Spirit lead me to come. So we're supposed to do the part 2 of program of yesterday, but the Spirit led me to do this program today. Why Mazen Kanu, under name of IPOB, is being using Nigeria local law to judge, and why Obatobia Simon Ekpa as a prime minister of a government in exile must be used under international law to judge. And you will see the difference between these two leaders. This one is the name of organization. This one is in case of forming government in exile that has been transitioned to government in exile, proving a legitimate government of a lost country. The case is quite different. That is why IPOB, I said that IPOB helped the Nigerian government to sentence Mazen Kanu. That name IPOB needs to be banished or removed out. Because this name has a blood of the indigenous people of Biafra so much on that name. Over 2,000 of Biafras are being littered in many prisons in Nigeria with the name of IPOB organization. So we want to start right now. So listen to the audio. You know how we do it? From the audio first. Then the question is, why a leader fighting freedom of his people, when arrested with the name of organization that always use that's only using protest and agitation under self-determination, always being judged with a local law, and why a leader who formed government in exile, when arrested, are being using international law to judge their case. So listen to this. Listen, pay attention. I hope you understand. After playing it, we are going to have 2 sections. After the 2 sections, they will put the link so you can also contribute by doing contribution through your comment section already, please, and also liking and sharing so others will join us. So we move.
Types of leaders are treated so differently comes down to one core concept in legal science: international legal personality. Under public international law, courts can only apply global treaties and international frameworks if the entity involved has achieved a recognized status beyond being a domestic group. 1. Why protest and agitation leaders are judged by local laws. When a leader commands an organization that limits its activities to local protests, rallies, and civil agitation, international courts and foreign governments view the situation through the lens of domestic jurisdiction. The principle of state sovereignty. A cornerstone of the modern world is Article 2.7 of the United Nations Charter, which strictly prohibits the UN and foreign states from intervening in matters that are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state. Lack of sovereign status. An agitation or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or a non-state actor. Because it does not claim or structurally operate as a separate government, it operates under the host country's legal system. The criminal law trap. When a government arrests a protest leader, they do not charge them with fighting for freedom. Instead, they use their municipal penal code to charge them with domestic felonies, such as treason, unlawful assembly, incitement, or breaching public order. Under international law, a sovereign country has the absolute right to enforce its own criminal laws within its borders. 2. Why a government in exile and redeclaration shifts to international law. When an organization formally transitions into a government in exile, GIE, and issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty, it completely changes its legal DNA. It stops acting like a domestic pressure group and starts acting like a state, asserting independent statehood. By forming a GIE, the movement actively invokes the 1933 Montevideo Convention, Article 3, which states that a country's legal existence is independent of whether other countries recognize it. The GE asserts that it is the de jure, rightful, legal authority over a territory, and that the arresting government is merely a de facto, temporary, physical, occupying force. Transforming an internal matter into an international dispute, a local court can only judge its own citizens. But when a recognized GIE claims that the arrested leader is their head of state, prime minister, or a high-ranking diplomat, the legal argument changes. International lawyers can argue that a domestic court has zero jurisdiction to put a foreign sovereign official on trial, activating international humanitarian law. By issuing a formal, peaceful redeclaration, the GIE frames the situation not as a domestic riot, but as a self-determination conflict protected under Article 1.4 of Geneva Protocol 1. This framework covers peoples fighting against alien occupation or colonial domination. Under this international treaty, an arrested leader can be classified as a political prisoner of war or a captive state representative, removing them from the jurisdiction of local felony courts. Direct legal comparison. Feature: protest and agitation leader, government in exile leader, primary legal arena, municipal, domestic, penal code, public international law and treaties, core UN framework. Article 2.7, non-interference in internal affairs. Article 1.2 and 55, right to self-determination. Legal classification, citizen/domestic dissident, sovereign representative/prisoner of war. The government's role, legitimate state prosecuting a local lawbreaker, accused occupying power, holding a political hostage. The takeaway: a protest group fights within the system to change it, leaving its leader vulnerable to that system's local laws. A government in exile creates a competing system under international law, giving its leader a legal shield the local courts cannot easily penetrate without violating global treaties.
For a second time, before we go into our analysis, so listen again.
The reason these two types of leaders are treated so differently comes down to one core concept in legal science: international legal personality. Under public international law, courts can only apply global treaties and international frameworks if the entity involved has achieved a recognized status beyond being a domestic group. 1. Why protest and agitation leaders are judged by local laws. When a leader commands an organization that limits its activities to local protests, rallies, and civil agitation, international courts and foreign governments view the situation through the lens of domestic jurisdiction. The principle of state sovereignty. A cornerstone of the modern world is Article 2.7 of the United Nations Charter, which strictly prohibits the UN and foreign states from intervening in matters that are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state. Lack of sovereign status. An agitation or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or a non-state actor. Because it does not claim or structurally operate as a separate government, it operates under the host country's legal system. The criminal law trap. When a government arrests a protest leader, they do not charge them with fighting for freedom. Instead, they use their municipal penal code to charge them with domestic felonies, such as treason, unlawful assembly, incitement, or breaching public order. Under international law, a sovereign country has the absolute right to enforce its own criminal laws within its borders. 2. Why a government in exile and redeclaration shifts to international law. When an organization formally transitions into a government in exile, GIE, and issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty, it completely changes its legal DNA. It stops acting like a domestic pressure group and starts acting like a state, asserting independent statehood. By forming a GIE, the movement actively invokes the 1933 Montevideo Convention, Article 3, which states that a country's legal existence is independent of whether other countries recognize it. The GE asserts that it is the de jure, rightful, legal authority over a territory, and that the arresting government is merely a de facto, temporary, physical, occupying force. Transforming an internal matter into an international dispute, a local court can only judge its own citizens. But when a recognized GIE claims that the arrested leader is their head of state, prime minister, or a high-ranking diplomat, the legal argument changes. International lawyers can argue that a domestic court has zero jurisdiction to put a foreign sovereign official on trial, activating international humanitarian law. By issuing a formal, peaceful redeclaration, the GIE frames the situation not as a domestic riot, but as a self-determination conflict protected under Article 1.4 of Geneva Protocol 1. This framework covers peoples fighting against alien occupation or colonial domination. Under this international treaty, an arrested leader can be classified as a political prisoner of war or a captive state representative, removing them from the jurisdiction of local felony courts. Direct legal comparison: feature, protest and agitation leader, government in exile leader, primary legal arena, municipal, domestic, penal code, public international law and treaties, core UN framework. Article 2(7), non-interference in internal affairs. Article 1, 2, and 55, right to self-determination. Legal classification: citizen/domestic dissident, sovereign representative/prisoner of war. The government's role: legitimate state prosecuting a local lawbreaker, accused occupying power, holding a political hostage. The takeaway: a protest group fights within the system to change it, leaving its leader vulnerable to that system's local laws. A government in exile creates a competing system under international law, giving its leader a legal shield the local courts cannot easily penetrate without violating global treaties.
When I said this word, do not doubt me, and I mean no insult. Our problem of Biafra since over all these years is the ignorance of law that we have been implemented for over all these years. And when we always claim that we know it all, is the problem. And when we are doing one thing and we think we are expecting another different result, when we are doing the same thing from time of Wazwike down to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, down to Ushemefo, down to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu again, then up to Simon Ekpa-Njoku. Now, the only time we have do something different is from Simon Ekpa to change the movement, the transition that the world was expecting from our hand since over all these 57 years of illegality, is how I address it. That is why we have never come in tango with the appropriate respect or to brought us on table to discuss Biafra as a country since over all these years. When you look at this at this time, now that the game has changed, now that we have done another different thing by changing the movement from just being a Protestant group under self-determination that the world addresses as words, as non-governmental organization under self-determination that can never return, or there is no way we can use to redeem or retrieve our country back or to rewrite what's the wrongdoing of Nigeria and into what we are doing. Now, when you sit down clearly to understand why we have never ever draw attention of the world where we're supposed to draw the attention is because of what? Our ignorance against law. Because having or retrieving or redeeming who we are or having our Biafra as a country depend on the criteria, the template of law, not the law that was being implemented by us. No, it is a law that was being implemented by those who has passes the road of losing a country and try to get a country back. This is the area that we have never really paid attention. And who brought our attention to this is one and only Simon Ekpa Njoku. When you talked about government in exile, is the government in exile and the criteria of everything, the template, the rules, the guideline lies on international stage and international community guidelines with their laws, their treaties, their article, their templates, and everything that we are going to make the going to make Biafra become a country lies on international law. When you pay attention to this program today, you say it doesn't matter the large population that are under protest. I want to pinpoint that word. He said that it doesn't matter the large number of the IPOB marching, doing 1 million men march on the street of the road. It does not lie on that to return Biafra as a country back or to retrieve it from the hands of Nigeria back. It lies on international stage, not on a local stage. We have been on a local stage for 57 years. That's why I'll keep on asking you to help me to count from the 1967 precisely to 2024, November 29. How many years that we are on a local level? Not only we are on that local level, we are also on the level of the ignorance totally of law. We back law, we throw law out. We are acting like people of Nigeria that don't have law. We never know that a law exists to control the movement. That the movement for Biafra to become a country lies on a legal path, on a document. It does not lie on a physical protest on the street. Honestly, I thank Chukwu Kabema to removing me from thinking that I will achieve Biafra will get recognition or become a country through protest. And removing me from this ideology of IPOB organization. Honestly, that is why I thank Simon Ekpa so much. And if I thank Simon, I thank Nnamdi Kanu because he was the one who mentioned bad government in exile. That a time will come when the Biafran people will form government in exile. And Nnamdi Kanu know that Biafra will come through government in exile. Because he knew that once we transition into government in exile, then what happened? That we have gotten to the level of to stand on existing protocol of the international law. Now, when you mention government in exile, you are mentioning what? International law. Honestly, God, I thank you for bringing Simon Ekpa and the handing over Ngozi Arabeze. God, I thank you for that. You see, after all the lecture, after all the school, after the University of Mazan and the Kano Radio Biafra, without Simon, that school is not completed. Without Ngozi Arabeze, without these two people, Simon and Ngozi Arabeze. That school is not, we have never graduated. We can now, it's time to graduate from that school through government in exile. And where we are as of this stage, where we are on a legal path, not on illegality. The 14 years of IPOB illegality and the lack of the ignorance of IPOB on the law path has killed Biafrans. On this name, IPOB is getting me angry. You see, this name IPOB is getting me angry every blessed day because I have a wound on my hand that I'm seeing every day. They're going to allow me sleep. Biafra movements without Simon and Ngozi Arabeze cannot be completed. The history, the school, we can never graduate on it. I want you to sincerely bend down to follow, to understand it clearly. I'm asking these questions since yesterday. Why did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu mention government in exile? Why? Because he knew that government in exile is international. Why protest under IPOB is local and ignorant of law? I am telling you, from the day of IPOB organization, we are on the level of the illegality. It's only US declared via government in exile is the only legal on the international stage. Honestly. Sometimes when I open the one, I go on my knees. I thank Chukwu Okabiama for bringing Simon and Ngozi Arabeze. You see, when we sing Holy, Holy Mazi Nnamdi Kanu without putting him of Simon and Ngozi Arabeze, that whole is not complete. It's just like someone who started from primary school, who want to end in primary school, and he want to apply a job of a graduate. How can it be possible? How? This name IPOB, I have started getting angry over this name. You see this name IPOB? I am starting getting angry over it every day by day because this name has a blood of Biafrans. The blood of my friend in Mpo, two of them. The blood of Biafrans in Emena, IPOB. The blood of Biafrans that Esonwike littered in many rivers in Iguacha, IPOB. The blood of Biafrans that was being littered in Apple Boys here, name of IPOB. The blood of Ikonso, IPOB. The blood of Waka Waka, IPOB. The blood of Mbosho Yakogwe, IPOB. The blood of Fejima, who China Sanworu, when you give order, was buried alive, name of IPO. This name has blood. I am trying to distance myself into concerning IPOB. That is why what I will do is to destroy this name. And I said, in Biafra land, the sea protest to banish this name will be, that is, if that is why Biafra government will jail me, they will jail me because I will protest that this name can never be used. We will ban this name the same way America banned 13 colonies. Do you know how many people in Osso that was being massacred one day under the name of IPOB-SN? What of Double Lion? This name, no. We must destroy this name called IPOB organization. On that, before we move, let's go to our comment section to greet all Biafrans on the comment section. Yes, the first person today is Shibo Zede. He said he stand on the protocol. He stand on the good morning of this platform. He stand on the good evening of this platform. He stand on the good evening of this platform. He stand job well done on this platform. The job well done on this platform is hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra Nation, USBG. That is it. He also finished the job by Nigeria must go out of Biafra land. Hashtag this dead sentence called Nigeria must go out of our territory. And he also said here, USBG is only way to achieve Biafra, no other way. He also said here, USB to the world. That is where we are. I see you, Wanda. I see Wanda. Yes, Shibuzede. Wanda said what? Yes, on the protocol. Hashtag I am a citizen of USB. Hashtag Nigeria must go because USB is a sovereign nation, whether like it or not. After that, he give us love emoji. Thank you for that. That is wonderful one. Ahmad Shigozie, you are the third person today. He said, hashtag I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. Thank you for that. And Ahmad also said, hashtag Nigeria must go. Biafra is a nation. That is the law of this page. Chibuzade said, God bless Mazenande Kano. God bless our Prime Minister Simon Epanjoku. God bless our DPM, the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ngozi Orabez, and Genu cabinet members. God bless you all. Yes, you are right. That is a wonderful one from you. Also said, hashtag Finland free United States of Biafra Prime Minister Simon Epa. Free him now. You must. We must. Joshua, we are not reading that first comment. Who is this? Daniel, we are not reading the first comment. Joshua, we read from here. Hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra USB. Hashtag Nigeria must go off Biafran territory. He said that is the good morning, please. Kid, I see Kid Fresh, I see you. That comment is not being written by me until I see the one. Yes, Daniel, we are not reading it because of it's not on the code. Yes, Joshua, I greet all lovers of freedom and the great Biafrans. Thank you for that. I see my comrades. I greet you, Mazedos Biafra TV. Thank you so much. I must stand on the protocol. I see Mommy Doreen, Mommy Ojugo, you are here. Thank you so much. I see Ezedos. I read this one because of those are involved on the name. God bless USB, we declared government. Long live Mazenam Dekano, Simon Epanjoko, Dr. Ngozi Orabeze. You see why I read this one? Yes. You see why I read it? Yes. IPOB as a group does not this name, the name, this name has started to irritate me. Whatever I see this name, honestly, I don't know why. That is, please, if you are here, stand on existing protocol. That is the if you watch me very well, I maintain the rules. Look at our brother. He said, hashtag I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra, Christian nation, and the Operation Nigeria Must Go is active in the 40 state of Biafra land. USB is my nation, USB, that of the rising sun. God bless you. IPOB does not concern me, honestly. Hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. Alex, you see now, from all the way, this our brother is from Israel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching us. Now I go to those that not read their comments. Hashtag Nigeria must go out of Biafra. This is the protocol. This is my good. You see this name USB is my good morning. It's my good afternoon. It's my good evening. Let me tell you what happened in my working place. They want to write a country I am from. There was confused everywhere. There was confusion everywhere. There was calling and asking, which name are you going to write for Chino? So which name? This one say he's only talk about Biafra. He's from Biafra. This one say, hey, no, he's not talking about Nigeria again. Even if you go to Nigeria, he'll start fighting you. Until the HR decide to do whatever he wants to do because of where I'm working and the name I use enter. The arguments rage for confirm 2 hours. There was, which name are we going to use for which name of his country? They start browsing, they start checking. So you see this name USB. Man about need make and if you watch my comment section, if you have here the USB cream, USB Fulani, I block you out. That is, but if you are writing all those your junks, I might just be wiping it away. Once you mention USB and other reverse and write rubbish, you are gone. Because I love this name so much. This name is giving me honor. Honestly, we are still greeting. I see you, Ekeneze, hashtag. I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. USB we stand. It has already stand. There is no two ways about that. Please, I see my comrade. I go to him again. Maz Ezedos. You know him very well. Onyezioku. Anytime you are looking for, when we didn't see me online, you didn't see Kai, or that Simon or Rose or Ezekuna's son, please, I urge you to go to Maz Ezedos and you will find the truth. Great job great job as always. Ndeo Maz Shino, Ndeo great Biafrans, Umife. You know that word, where it's coming from. Thank you. I do because of age, and I read my mommy's comment. Good morning, Shino, and all Genu Biafrans. Thank you so much, Mommy Ojugo. And I also say, bro, the wait on Mazanan Kanu to declare it. Let them continue waiting until eternity is their business. So, on that reason, I now go to the program of today. The program of today, the headline is any arrested leader fighting for freedom with organization always judged with local law. For a leader fighting for freedom with government in exile will be judged with international law. That is why we come heavy on those who going to say Finland, that Simon must be judged with international law because of what? Because he is fighting for a country with a name of a government in exile, with the name of a country that has redeclared. So his case, his judge, his law will be different from how the judge Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is pure truth. Because the difference between a leader who is organized to fight is what we are going to establish today, and the one who formed government in exile and issue a peaceful redeclaration. That is the where we are going today. So you can see the benefit, and you can see why all this IPOB organization help Nigerian government to sentence Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They refuse to adhere that Mazi Kanu said that a time will come. Am I only the one who had this from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that a time will come when we form government in exile? Simply mean that he knew that his only government in exile is the only way Biafra will become a country. And what is the government in exile? Government in exile based on international law. Why organization based on a local law and on international law, there is no backup law for any organization group claiming they are fighting to have a new nation, or they want to get the old one back. So let us see, as we play, we pause, we analyze it together. You can do that through comment section. You can also come in when I put the link. So let's go. Because the program will be on Tuesday. After session 1, I'll put the link. I will end the program. Then after that, I will come back again for session 2. Because I don't want it to be too long. I want it to be very short so we can grab it clearly. So let us go to the program fully.
The reason these two types of leaders are treated so differently comes down to one core concept in legal science.
I hope you are getting something. I hope you had the beginning. The reason these two type of leader, and two type of leader, when it comes to this Biafra, when it comes to fighting to restore a lost country. This narrative, this is why I said, since over all these years, check it very well, from 1970 we are on local illegality movement to 2023 that Obatobi officially introduced full structure of government in exile. We now transition into international legal. No more illegality. No more local level. Now, the reason the reason these two types of leader are treated so differently comes down to one key kernel in to the illegal sense, to the legal sense, international legal personality. There is international law, legal personality. Why two of them will be treated differently? The way Simon will be treated is quite different from the way Mazen will be treated. Do you know why? Because he was arrested with the name IPOB organization. This is pure truth. There is no missing word. There is no emotion on it. Let's put this record straight first. You see why the government has the power to do, you find it here, why they have power to do anything they want. And he left Son Mazen and the Kano, and if those fake lawyers who are around him understand this international part, when you lost a country and the leader is fighting for it, and he was arrested with the name of organization, what is the game change? The game change is that the lawyers should have advised Mazen and the Kano to accept the government in exile of USB. Now, it will now come down to use this law of a government in exile that issue a peaceful declaration to do. And you know that Nigerian government know how to play the game. They are playing it. Mazen and Kano was a leader of organization called IPOB, indigenous people that was being declared terrorist organization. This is, let's set the record straight. Forget emotion. That's why I told you, we will never use emotion to get Biafra as a country. No, it is only legal way. And some of the legal way might be pinching us. Some of the legal way might be penning us. But that is the truth. And that is why Biafra has never become a country, because we are not on the legal path after we lost it in 1970. Now, based on this, under public international law, court can only apply global treaty and international framework if the entity involved have achieved a government in exile recognized status beyond being a domestic group. IPOB is a domestic group, local group. That's whatever they do relies under the law of Nigeria. Forget those who are in abroad who claim they went to Washington DC, they are viewed, the DVD, they are veteran. No, all those things is a mere story. They did not yield any results. That is illegality. That is local level. Now, you had it here. Until they achieved and they recognized well-organized government in exile status. Now, you're going to see how these two people are being treated and how the laws separate from A to B. Because Mazen Kano was being arrested as a leader of what? IPOB. Is it not true? That is true. Obatobi is being arrested under the level of prime minister of a government in exile. Is it not true? You see, these two things have a different law, different backup, and different suit that follows each of them. So today, you will see why I said that word yesterday. Somebody called me, a member of IPOB, said, why did you say that IPOB helped Nigeria to sentence Mazen Kano? And I told him, come to this program. I have invited him. I know he's watching. And I explained to him in details. I said, I will come there with evidence and you can hear it by yourself. Why IPOB that refused to adhere to tradition to understand that Simon argument in exile is the only way that we could have, collapse IPOB and denounce IPOB. Everybody we adhere to, we are indigenous people. of United States of Biafra to accept that our country is what? That Mazi Khan now is a leader of a president of a nation waiting for in prison to come out and lead his people, like every other countries, every other leaders in the world. I'm also going to establish this to you with legal part of it, so you can see. That's why I said, come here, type, or when part of these laws are being mentioned, type it on your phone. Because of what? Thank you, Amaj. A government in exile cannot be prescribed. Nobody can prescribe government in exile. No, because there is a backup. Yesterday I give you up to how many? Up to 8 laws. Only yesterday program. 8 laws, both resolution, both article, both charter, both everything. And this government in exile is not just government in exile. The government that we are talking about is the one that issue a redeclaration or declaration, is the only one that this law guide. Any government in exile without peaceful redeclaration document or peaceful declaration is just the same thing. It's like IPOB organization. They are all the same. That is why when you see BGC, CRC, PUK, fake the automobile mechanic government in exile, all these things are just organization. They hold no ground. So let's continue.
International legal personality. Under public international law, courts can only apply global treaties and international frameworks if the entity involved has achieved a recognized status beyond being a domestic group. 1. Why protest and agitation leaders are judged by local laws.
Remember this number. Now the program kick off. So listen, you will hear the law. Why I told you, bro, that IPOB helped Nigeria to sentence Mazi Nnamdi Kanu when they refused to accept that Biafra has been redeclared. Because that is the game changer. The game changer is what? The redeclaration of USB is the game changer. Through government in exile. That is the only game changer that changes the status of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu not to be judged by Nigeria Constitution, the local one. Now it's going to be judged under international law. Let's proceed. Why protest and agitation leader are judged by local laws? Simon Ekpa, is it a prime minister of organization that do protest agitation? Did Simon command protest agitation? The answer is no. Who are those championing protest agitation? Who are those that is championing protest agitation? It's not IPOB. We are talking about them. Let's set the record straight first. Remove emotion. Remove sentiment. Let us call a spade a spade. Now listen.
Leader commands an organization that limits its activities to local protests, rallies, and civil agitation. International courts and foreign governments view the situation through the lens of domestic jurisdiction.
Are you hearing it? When a leader commands an organization that limits its activities to the local protest is local. May or a 1 million men march, may or a agitation, may or a protest, whatever you call it, name of protest, they said is what? That it is a local. Relies on civil agitation. International courts and the foreign government view this situation through the lens of a domestic jurisdiction. Nigeria jurisdiction now is why that a man they are being kidnapped. That Nigeria broke international law. But because of the kidnapping brought him down to Nigeria courts, and under the name they have been declared a terrorist organization. The name was being declared what? Terrorist organization. Whether you are in abroad accept or not accept, that is a local law of Nigeria. And no country will come to change. That is why no country is telling Nigeria, stop calling them terrorist organization. No country in the world, has proved that IPOB in abroad or anywhere you are is not terrorist organization. Even you said Nigeria still say no to you because this is their jurisdiction. On that jurisdiction of Nigerian government is what they are using to judge Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The law cannot implement to Simon Ekpa and Njoku because Simon is not a leader of organization one. He is not calling for protest. He's not calling for agitation. He's not calling for 1 million men march. No. This is now, we want you to ask yourself, what do you wish Mazi Nnamdi Kanu if you are still calling him the leader of IPOB organization? These are the areas we need to think, because the local level where we are and our ignorance against law is why Biafra is not fully restored until Simon Ekpa now comes, remove us from the local, remove us from being on the level of the ignorance of the law. The USD declared is under international stage and the backup, not by local law anymore, and not being the ignorance where you are doing protest agitation and 1 million men march. No, it doesn't work like that. That is not the way. Let's proceed. Now, listen, I will read it again. When a leader commanding an organization like IPOB that limits its activities to the local protests, rallies, and civil agitation, international courts and the foreign government view the situation through the lines of domestic jurisdiction. Do you see why Nigeria break all against international law and kept Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, sentence him? Those who are calling for his release outside is just a mere talk. There will be never action against Nigeria, because it happens that the name protest, agitation, organization is involved. The organization, they started the organization in Europe. The organization activities happen in the territory of Nigeria so far until we redeclared Biafra November 29. Now it becomes our territory. You see why the world just move away from it? Donald Trump has no power to go to Nigeria and do Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. No, he will not, because it's the most respect under the Section 2, Article 7 of the UN Charter. You must respect territorial integrity of another country. And meanwhile, before Donald Trump, now Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the organization has already been declared a terrorist organization. I don't want to set myself with anything called IPOB at all. Whether I'm in mere baptism or indigenous people, everybody knows that everybody in this world is indigenous people. I don't need to pronounce it and paint it with water or oil or to rebrand it. No, it is remain what it is. But why you get an IPOB now before you make explanation? Is being declared what? The organization registered by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being declared terrorist organization. The only thing we will do is the game changer, which is USB redeclared. Flora, I see you. Thank you so much. Uche Geoff, I see you. Ghana, I see you. Amaj, I see you. Thank you so much. Eureka Bartholomew, I see you. Thank you so much. Now, let's go. You have understand why Nigeria has power to do whatever they are doing for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It's under their domestic jurisdiction. You can't fly. That is why any lawyer fly from America, come Bruce Firm, they knock him out. You can't come to their local jurisdiction and say what will happen there. No. That's why they will not even allow him to enter the court premises. Do you see the world sanctioning Nigeria because they did not allow the foreigner to enter Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? The answer is no. It's on their own territory. They have power to do whatever they like.
The principle of state sovereignty. A cornerstone of the modern world is Article 2.7 of the United Nations Charter, which strictly prohibits the UN and foreign states from intervening in matters that are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state.
Is it clear to you now? The IPOB are mad for this law, boy. Because IPOB based on illegality, command and structure, command and control, is not when it's come to into Biafra as a country, or for us to achieve Biafra. There is a proceeding lay down law. There is a lay down rule that controls everything. So the ignorance of IPOB is not an excuse in the international law. That is what we are seeing now. And they remain on that their illegality and claiming we have no DOS member. Nonsense. The principle of state sovereignty, a cornerstone of a modern day world. Remember that word, though. A cornerstone of a modern day world. A modern day world starts from 2001, the 21st century. It's going to end in 2000. This is how it is. And what did he get? May you do nothing. This is what they call what? The principle of state sovereignty, a cornerstone of the modern day world, is Article 2 in bracket 7 of the United Nations Charter. Now, somebody will say, oh, the UN arbitrary group is calling for the massacre to be free. They can only be there and say with their mouth. If it is true, or they have power to do it, why can't they sanction Nigeria? They will not, because they must respect this law. And this their law said what? The arbitrary authority in the United Nations that is going to massacre release is a mere calling without no action and nothing. And when they say we will carry it, the UN has called massacre to be released, all those things are fallacy. Because they will not break this rule, which strictly prohibits the UN and the foreign state from interfering in a matter that are strictly within the domestic jurisdiction of any state. This is Article 2 in bracket 7. There is no miracle to change this law. No country will jump in. No country will. This, you see, UN has called for mankind to be released. This and that. All those things are propaganda. That is formality. There is no action because the law caged them. If you follow the program of 3 days ago, it said that the law is what? Is that the law is a roadblock to what? To anybody who will enter Nigeria to tell them how to treat Mazen and they can and how to turn his case. Because of what? The case is under organization, not under a government in exile, which is international and illegal. The case is under illegality.
Lack of sovereign status. An agitation or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or a non-state actor.
Now, is it sounding clear to you? This still remain under the search under Article 2 in bracket 7 of the United Nations Charter. The arbitrary group of United Nations. They are all into this law. They are all what? All into this law. Lack of sovereign status, an agitation or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, no matter how large, no matter 1 million men march, no matter 10,000 march, no matter 10,000 large of IPOB on the streets, no matter this large, you had the word, lack of sovereignty status, an agitation group or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or non-state actor. They are what? Non-state actor. Under section, this is under section 8 of the Article 2 in bracket 7. Now, Article in bracket 8 is where I am right now. Look at how this is how they classify IPOB. Tell me if you have been. That is why I said this our ignorance of the law has killed us. You see, all my life, I owe Simon all my life to put us on the legal and the international law, to bring us back to legal rights, to bring us not to be removing us from this ignorance of the law. That is our problem. Because I have gone around and shake many countries. Every one of them seek on the legal, on the law. That's what they call existing protocol, or as amended. It's only in the Biafra movement of IPOB, political pressure group, that law could not be implemented. What implemented is a command and control structure. And who are you commanding? Who are you controlling? When you organization, it dies there. Your control dies on organization level. When it comes to the legal and international way, you are not there. for 1 minute. I want to read here back again because I want it to establish in our mind so much. Lack of sovereign status, an agitation or protest group organization, no matter how large. In MIL, we are large IPOB, we are big. Ya ha potassium na ekwuyeri, efo ha, akro ha ni rokesi anyonse. Owoku ye ham, ha no under illegality. They are all under illegality. And no matter how large you know they, no under illegality, no under jurisdiction of the domestic Nigeria way is how you will be treated. This is what law is all about. One day, we have moved away from the criteria of Nigeria government. If IPOB like, let them come out on the street and fool all the road of America. Nothing will happen. Nothing. I said, absolutely nothing will happen. When you see this IPOB and this their shenanigan they are doing, see, Simon, may God bless you, honestly. Bless him, go to our best. May God bless Simon and go to our best for removing us from illegality, removing us from being an ignorant of law. And we claim we are doing something. And the world will look at us and laugh at us. Another way than they with us, oh, they buy na say, na ebere chi mere ebezi ebere, na ebere mmadụ na up to hey, nwa mo osuo gi mi ogafelu. That is what they are doing to us because they find out we lack the ability to reason and stand on a legal path. That our ignorance is everywhere. And you can see that ignorance today. Those, see, let me tell you one thing. God, Chineke si na na-ewere amamihe nye ndị ekwesịghị inye. Na ọ bụ ndị ahụ ilebara anya ka a na-enye, ndị lawyer amara ihe a na-agụ here. And it's only we right now we understand this is what is holding us. Let me tell you one thing. Any day allow Ejimako break down to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu the rules of declaration and the way we are right now. Mazi Kanu, we are banished IPOB. I know him very well. When Mazi Kanu gets a real information, detailed information of that Biafra has been declared, and look at the way it is. You know, sometimes I wish there is a way I can just land in that prison and say, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, look at this, look at this. And they want you to know that anybody who goes, they be monitored. They want you a strange face, they will not give you the chance. They blocked everything for him to get a real information. You know that we have been messing up. And all these years, let me tell you why I say we have been messing up. We have been messing up under illegality and under ignorance. That is why Biafra map have never returned since all those why. That is why it remains blight of Bonnie. And when we on the legal path, when we remove our ignorance and be on the legal part of it, Biafra map come back to the world map. Is it not true? Because the map is legal. Biafra map is legal. It's not illegality. Under the name of IPOB for all this time, under the name of Wazirike of all these years, do you see that plight of Bonnie was, they removed the plight of Biafra after the war, put plight of Bonnie. As I'm talking to go and check the plight of Biafra again, it has come back to the plight of Biafra. It's not a plight of Bonnie again because of what? We have now come to the legal part. We are no longer on the illegality side of it. Simon, God will bless you and keep you. Honestly. Like I said, I want to run the program quickly so we can end it and later we'll come back again and also put the link for those who want to join us. Once analyze is finished, then we'll put the link. Now, because it does not claim or structurally operate as a separate government. Do you get? You see this Article 8? You see this in bracket 8? That is where it finished IPOB. So if you are there, you are a big fool, a big moron. You are a madman. Mad people everywhere. The name of IPOB organization. They brig. No more brig. This is what Sonny Akparawa Ogenkere Automobile Mechanic Government in Exile. That is their name. Sonny Akparawa phone repairer like a Mapawales in Ghana. You see how these people parole. You see how the history is repeating. Look at a phone repairer in Keved. And look at the internal mechanic in Baltimore. And when I check off the criteria of Biafra to become a nation, of anybody who will lead Biafra by Mazen and the four quality, none of them has any of them. The four quality, if you can lead the Biafra movement or even in Biafra territory, before you can be a president, before you can govern, there is things that have been said. There is a well criteria. When you look at the Ogenkere, look at Abakrawa, the phone repairer, like a powerless. In case na fe power for na Ghana, na no phone repairer. Ndị ahịa phone a dị nwaanyị, ọ na ihe ma o ji feel like unu ga tight nwaanyị or lose. Ọ ya possible. Because na ihe na phone maybe ọ try gị wee nwa. Some of them you know ta nwa ya ọfụma, nke ọta izuo ya n'ohire, gwa ọnya n'ofugo. The same thing with Nkano bottom a na-akpọ Ogenkere. Game ụlọ be na Biafra government in exile hall in Baltimore. Gabukana bọkwa na ọ na-egbe mekanik nọkwa panebita ka ọ na-arụ na Baltimore. Ogenkere ihe ọ na Baltimore mekanik ọ na-arụ panebita ka ọ na-arụ. Ọha ma bụ ndị bere isi anyị. There in a criteria Mazen can mention that before you lead this movement, then you must be well read. You must be a wealthy man. You must be a politician. And you must well spoke. You must be fearless at all times when you want to speak your words. Tell me, did Ogenkere Sonny Akparawa, a Chiomo Okoma, Bryce no Okoma, a Mamadu Abo, a Kwole, I don't know who Fulani, Rugbodo Fulani, the old wish, Chiri Gomu Biafra, or Bromo Biafra, or when I survive. Not a country, not a state in America. Far sign 100 of them. Now far talk America break country. History is turning around, repeating everywhere in this movement. Because see, if so the way you have Bible, Old Testament and New Testament complete to Revelation is what we are going to have. That is what is happening. So if you are not keeping record, try and keep the record. This is exactly where we are. Look at automobile mechanic government in exile. Let's shake your hand. Government recognition is from state to state, not Congress to Congress, not lobby to lobby. Well, let me not go too far. Now, I'll read fully again. Lack of sovereign status, organization with protest, lack again sovereign status. An agitation or protest group, no matter how large or how peaceful, imagine no matter how large, no matter how peaceful, when another IPOB organization, they are underground, illegal, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or a non-state actor because it does not claim or structured operate as a separate government organization of DOS under the UN Charter or international law can never be operated as a separate government out of Nigeria. It's only government in exile that issue official redeclaration is one operating as a separate government with a full structured member of the cabinet members. Do you see the criteria where a arbitrary group of the United Nations put IPOB organization? And the final mashagari. Final megana mashagari na hanem IPOB. So it operates under the host country legal system. Protest organization of IPOB. The law that I have been using on you is said here that you are operating under the host country legal system, the IPOB. You are operating under the legal system of Nigeria government. Because of what? Remark here is said, they are not operating as a separate government. Organization with protest, agitation, no matter how large you are operating under, you are command and control of organization, not to the level of a government that will suit to the government of the world or under the international jurisdiction. You are operating under the domestic judicial system of Nigeria government. That is the law they use to judge all of you in the IPOB. Afa Ebu Angobra. Organization of Ebu Angobra. Just continue. The criminal legal tramp. Let's go tramp now. But I will play it again. So listen. I will play to the way I want, and I will stop to the final analyzing of the program.
The reason these two types of leaders are treated so differently comes down to one core concept in legal science: international legal personality. Under public international law, courts can only apply global treaties and international frameworks if the entity involved has achieved a recognized status beyond being a domestic group. 1. Why protest and agitation leaders are judged by local laws. When a leader commands an organization that limits its activities to local protests, rallies, and civil agitation, international courts and foreign governments view the situation through the lens of domestic jurisdiction. The principle of state sovereignty. A cornerstone of the modern world is Article 2.7 of the United Nations Charter, which strictly prohibits the UN and foreign states from intervening in matters that are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state. Lack of sovereign status. An agitation or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or a non-state actor. Because it does not claim or structurally operate as a separate government, it operates under the host country's legal system. The criminal law trap. When a government arrests a protest leader, they do not charge them with fighting for freedom. Instead, they use their municipal penal code to charge them with domestic felonies, such as treason, unlawful assembly, incitement, or breaching public order. Under international law, a sovereign country has the absolute right to enforce its own criminal laws within its borders. 2.
I hope you are listening. From the IPOB. My brother who asked that question, thank God you said you are watching through WhatsApp. I hope now it's getting clear to you why I said that IPOB helped the student mass in the court, because everything you are doing is under Nigeria constitution. Can you see that? You said that, but the UN is calling for those things are mere story. UN said they prohibit anyone that will pass this law of Article 2 in bracket 7. He said that the law prohibits any state or any individual who want to do that. Am I the one saying it? I told you where I got the message. The message is from UN Charter. Article 2 in bracket 7 and 8 to 10, 11. That is the program I'm doing today. So go into that law and find out by yourself. And find out IPOB is just a male political party that Nigeria has right to deal with you IPOB anyhow you like. And that name has been massacred our people. Even up to 2025. The last protest in Mazda Kano's town, what happened? They buy people. They shot at people. Did the USB call for protest? The name USB does not have any blood stain, they like it or not. Because we are not calling for protest, we're not calling for agitation. We believe on the legal path. The legal path is in the document, pen and paper. The criminal law trump. When a government arrested a protest leader, you see, they do not charge them with the fighting for freedom. Are you hearing it? The Nigerian government is not charging Mazangana is fighting for freedom. Look at it. This is Article 9 of that same UN charter. Listen. It will see where he favors you. It will see where he's telling you, don't do this. So this is what you're supposed to do. And because of our ignorance, over all these things, we refuse to do the needful. We refuse to move to the water, the legal, until Simon, rise all of us into the legal path. That is why we are saved. And to accomplish the legal path, he handed over to Dr. Ngozi Arabeze, who normalized it and make the world understand. We stand on the legal existing protocol of all your jurisdiction. That is where we are. Instead, they use their multiple penal code to charge them with domestic law, such as felony, such as treason, unlawful assembly. That is why they come to Emena, massacre the Biafran people. You are unlawful gathering there. That is why they come to Mpo, massacre Biafran people under the name of IPOB. That is why they come to Iguacha, massacre people under the name of IPOB. That is come to every part of all this region, massacre us, chase us, give us tear gas, because of their law, govern them up, and nothing anybody can do. Even on a day that we was being shot with American flag, celebrating Donald Trump, what happened? Can't you learn your lesson? These are all what? Illegality. These are ignorance of the law that abide our people. And we want to continue. Those who call themselves veteran, you are in America. Let me veteran. And you cannot read law. In a veteran. Veteran will call on the old fools. I hold you no respect. Because you have killed, you also killed my own brother. You know, IPO and the veteran. And the DVD. Look at it here. On bridging public order under international law, a sovereign country has the absolutely right to enforce its own criminal law within their boundaries. That is what Nigeria is doing to IPOB organization. That is what they use on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. In Ebakwa. Many of you today on the fence. Now it's supposed to be in with proving that you want Biafra as a country, standing on the name of a country. Rather, what are you doing? You are crying. Yeah, this Biafra, don't know who to follow. You are a buffoon. Mad people everywhere. What makes you a human being is ability to reason and reason, think and rethinking. That is what makes you a human being. You're not animal. That is why Alexander Stubb challenged Ngozi Arabeze. You are right. You are 100%. That is why. And that's why he said that we should go to legal rights. And now we are on the legal rights. Don't you know that if Biafra was not declared, we can never be on a legal right? And I bet you, I challenge you to prove to me that if not for our declaration, that is why Masamanaba is in favor. If not for that, by now, Obatobi could no longer be alive, or Finland will sentence him life imprisonment. You don't know that it's because of US will declare is why they give him 6 years. You don't know, and he asks us to go to legal way. Now we are in the legal battle. Let us go, and you can see we have every right to win on the legal battle. You had it, Nigeria has every right to do what they are doing. Remember that we are on the side of what? Organization. Now we are going to the right of the government in exile with a peaceful declaration.
Why a government in exile and redeclaration shifts to international law.
I listen to number 2. Why government in exile and with redeclaration chief to the international law. We have chief towards international law with our redeclaration. If you are claiming government in exile without a declaration, the same law under the whole IPOB organization is what we hold you. The difference is that word, redeclaration. I hope you had it here. Why a government in exile and redeclaration chief to international law? We shifted our movement to battle with international law and the backup. Let's proceed. This law is not meant for Jimako, Amy Justice. This law does not meant for this law is CM. Until you understand the legal jurisdiction of word is different from when it's come to legal of having a country. They don't read this one in school. UN Charter is not being teaching in school. No lawyer reads until you research, until your mind draw your attention to the United Nations Charter. All their charters is when you start finding it one after the other. Then you will know the backup. I hope that clears your mind, Amy. Now, let's go.
When an organization formally transitions into a government in exile, GIE, and issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty, it completely changes its legal DNA. It stops acting like a domestic pressure group and starts acting like a state.
I hope you are listening. When an organization formally transition into a government in exile, GIE, nke anyị, ọ bụrụ nke automobile mechanical government in exile, ọ bụrụ ya ka anyị na-ekwu, and issue a peaceful redeclaration of a sovereignty. What do we issue? We redeclare a sovereign state of United States of Biafra. It completely changes its legal DNA. A change here. Through it changes what? Its legal DNA. It stops acting like a domestic pressure group in the IPOB and start acting like a state. Do you see how the game is sound changing? When I read all these things, after reading all these things, my own time, my head will be, oh, Obatobi, Simon, but the man of the moment, the man who brought us a legal path. Honestly, he did. He finished his job. Obatobi finished his job. He is not on a finished business. He finished the business. Because he gave us everything we needed. He gave us all in all. I want to read it back again. My brother from IPOB, sorry, I am sounding this way to you because you might be genuine, try to know this time. But our brother Kenneth, my own brother, was the way was like that. So I addressed him the same way. And he later realized the truth. So I want you to calm down, listen. Forget the words. I sound this way because IPOB, name of IPOB is the blood of my brother. When an organization formally transition into a government in exile, GIE. Foge nke rie na spell GIE. Brigi. That is ignorance of the law. That can never be an excuse. Our ignorance of the laws of all these years is not an excuse for organization to come in the name of with the name of organization IPOB. No, you must remain on the track. And they said that the only legal path is what? When organization formally transition into government in exile, GIE, and issue a peaceful declaration of a sovereignty, it completely changed its legal DNA. Do you hear that word, DNA? Do you hear it clearly? It stops acting like a domestic pressure group organization, IPOB. And is you see when Obatobi starts, when Obatobi read this law of government in exile, when he read about organization, and you see how international law address IPOB. Tell me, who was the first person who called IPOB political pressure group? Who? Simon Heber. And look at it here. Obatobi, you will be alive. God is with you 24 hours of the day. He was the first person who gave them that name, who made it open. We thought it's again, we never know what is in the law. The law addresses organizations that are only with the protest, agitation, 1 million members, 20,000 members. This is how the law addresses them. It addresses them what? It stops acting like a domestic pressure organization and starts acting like a state. You see, oh, you will declare it, you will fall back, you will remain briggy or in briggy until you get recognition. That's why that you're not a sovereign state. You must act at a state from the day of the declaration, because what you really declare was what? A sovereign nation. It's no general. Oh no, law is not your mate. That's why I said that this hour now where we are is beyond many people to discuss about it.
Asserting independent statehood. By forming a GIE, the movement actively invokes the 1933 Montevideo Convention, Article 3.
Are you hearing it? As starting independent statehood, you have started being a country of independent. When you hear a statehood, means a nation, a country. This national law, their rule is what? Their law is what? They normally use state. The state means nation. So whenever you hear state, that is a country. Remember it. They use state in their own law. Let's proceed. Based on that, by forming a GIE, the movement actually invoking, now we are invoking law, not to use law to prohibit us. Now, the USB is what? By forming GIE that issue a peaceful declaration, the movement actually invoking the 1933 Montevideo Convention, Article 3. Now, let us see the Article 3. Which a state that a country legally existence is independent of whether others countries recognizes you or not. From the day you issue a declaration of a lost country, from that day you start being a sovereign nation. They said it doesn't matter whether other countries have already recognized you. You must be a country self first before others will come to see you as a country. I must have a name. When you enter here, what you will see is what? You some areas you see Biafra TV. In some area you see US Research TV. That is a name you come with. That is the name you see before you see me. See me. Is it not true? Is it not the truth?
States that a country's legal existence is independent of whether other countries recognize it. The GE asserts that it is the de jure, rightful, legal authority over a territory, and that the arresting government is merely a de facto, temporary, physical, occupying force.
Do you hear how it's been addressed? The GIE asserts that it's the Jew, rightful, legal From the day you declare it, you have entered a full right of full legal movement. That is why, as the stop said, that our DPM should fight for Biafra in a legal way. Well, where are we today? The legal is the redeclaration of US redeclare. From that day that we have gone to war, we now invoke the law. We also did what? We also be on, they call it the Joe. The Joe recognition is the fact recognition. The first one, you recognize yourself. Like when you come, you type hashtag, I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. That is how it is, USB. That is from where it starts first. By yourself, you and I must organize ourselves. When you are also taking your ID card, you're also doing that. Legal authority over territorial. Now you have authority to implement governors in the homeland. This is the Montevideo Convention, Article 3. Only that Article 3 first. We never enter into Section 1, Section 2, Section 3. And that day, arresting government is merely de facto. Now, Nigeria is a de facto government in our territory. They are holding the, look at it, they said that the de facto government that was occupying your territory is temporarily holding your physical, occupying it by force. Because of what? The government in exile. The transition, an internal matter into an international dispute. The transformation of government in exile is now changes the internal matter into an international dispute. Obatobie is in Finland because of many nations that hold Finland. You think it's just a wise play? You think it's just no? Now it's because of you declared, do not my mama do. Is that a funny in Finland? He will cry had I know. You see those who work with the Bryce no come, come, those who are blocking people to see Obatodi, they will pay for it in Biafra Constitution. If I continue, let them continue. Listen. Transforming an internal matter into an international dispute because of what? Government in exile that issue a peaceful redeclaration. A local court can only judge its own citizen. Now, Obatobie is a citizen of USB redeclared. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for we is a citizen of USB declared, despite the IPOB in Emiaka or na Habu in Kahaiche. Now, based on that, Finland can no longer, that is why Finland has removed terrorist charge for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case, because nothing like that. Nothing like that. Because through our peaceful declaration, is no longer a citizen of Nigeria. It is a citizen of what? United States of Biafra. It is what? A citizen of what? United States of Biafra. Through the Montevideo Convention 1933, Article 3. This is a backup law. Transforming an internal matter into an international dispute. A local court can only judge its own citizen. But when a recognized GIE claim that the arrested leader in their head of is the head of state, prime minister, or a higher rank diplomat. What? A higher rank what? Diplomat. The legal argument changes. International lawyers can argue that domestic court has zero jurisdiction to put a foreign sovereign official on a trial. This is the law that have to use for Simon Ekpanjoko. And even if IPOB, with their ignorance of law, could have embraced, accepted their country, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what they could have done is to go to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to tell him, sir, Onyendu, Biafra has already declared, though, government in exile, and look at the constitution, they need to break that. He will grab it by himself. He will disqualify the name IPOB by himself, because he is the one who registered this name, United Kingdom, 2020, 2012. He was the one. He is the one. So he has right to say, this time I registered, I punish it. That is why we serve him quickly, because there is a legal backup. When you are, this is law that we not want us to know. That's why they said, if you want to hide truth from a black man, put it on a document they will not go and read. The world, we are now reading that those are documents. We have learned our mistake. As Oba told me, Simon Ekpanjoko put us into the legal track. Our DPM accomplished it. We have been embraced the international law. So we have now reading all those hidden documents that you need for a black man. Because if you want to be a smart man, you must read very well, research, then you will be a smart man. And look at under this international law, that's the argument of the lawyers that need to send to them. Somebody need to send all this to Mazi Nnamdi, Simon Ekpa's lawyer. I don't know how to tag Ejiofor. Send all this to Ifeanya, to our lawyer Ejimako. If you know how we can tag him, please contact me. We will forward all this. Ask him, please read this and stop the shenanigans you are doing in the court room. Explain all this to Mazi Nnamdi. You are a lawyer. Read all this and understand how to save Mazi Nnamdi. We know that you are making your money. It does not stop you. But put him on a right track. Let him understand.
Transforming an internal matter into an international dispute, a local court can only judge its own citizens. But when a recognized GIE claims that the arrested leader is their head of state, prime minister, or a high-ranking diplomat, the legal argument changes. International lawyers can argue that a domestic court has zero jurisdiction to put a foreign sovereign official on trial, activating international humanitarian law. By issuing a formal, peaceful redeclaration, the GIE frames the situation not as a domestic riot, but as a self-determination conflict protected under Article 1.4 of Geneva Protocol 1. This framework covers peoples fighting against alien occupation or colonial domination. Under this international treaty, an arrested leader can be classified as a political prisoner of war or a captive state representative, removing them from the jurisdiction of...
I've made it to go far. Activating international human rights law by issue a formal peaceful redeclaration. The GIE framed the situation not as a domestic rot, but as a self-determination conflict protected under Article 14, Article 1, bracket 4 of Geneva Convention Protocol 1. Honestly, our ability not to focus on legal part on the law becomes more problem. This is the reason why Biafra we are still until November 2024. That is when we change the narrative. Please, if you join me, I wish you can like or you can share the program. I wish you can like. I wish you can like or you can share the program. The like is not removing anything from you. Just touch the like button. You are not paying for it. And when you like, others will get the message and join us. Now, based on this, you hear this Article 1 in bracket 4 of the Geneva Convention, Protocol 1. This is what they said that the lawyers has to use to argue. You can't prison another citizens of another country. You don't have the right. Even though if that person is in your country, once he identify himself and agree this is the name of my country, you will treat him based on the law of his own country. And if those are arguments in exile, you will treat them with this activating international humanitarian law by issue a formal peaceful declaration. The GIE framing the situation not as a domestic rot, but as a self-determination conflict protected under Article 1 in bracket 4 of Geneva Protocol 1. This is how the law is treating all this. This framework covers people fighting against what? Oppressor or colonial domination. Nigeria is occupying an illegal territory because Biafra is a country for 3 years. A country that's got recognition of 4 countries before it collapsed, before the oppressor make it to collapse. So that oppressor is under this law of the Article 1 bracket 4 of the Geneva Protocol 1, make it openly that we as people of Biafra, this is our legal right in what we are doing this time around. Under the international treaty, an arrested that can be classified as a political prisoner with government in exile, Mazen Kanu can never be a political prisoner under the law. But when you issue a peaceful declaration through government in exile, it becomes what? A political prisoner of war of a captive state representative. Do you hear it? Removing them from the local judiciary of a local flame court of Nigeria or Finland. The case has changed because Abato Obie is being treated as a prime minister of a government in exile that issue official declaration. And there is a backup article laws. It's not just saying because anything in the court, you must quote law, you must quote article, you must quote everything that is in the paper, the document of law. That is what we are doing to establish, to let the world know that you are holding a prime minister of another country that has been issued official formal declaration. They did not say until we achieve recognition. No, once you issue official declaration, you are there.
Local felony courts. Direct legal.
And when you did this, then charging them with treason, felony, terrorist, all of them has been abolished because of what? He is a prime, you hear that word, prime minister of another country. Do you get it clearly? This is how it is. So now, direct legal comprehension of all this between agitation group leader and the government in exile leader. Now, let's go in.
Comparison. Feature, protest and agitation leader, government in exile leader, primary legal arena, municipal, domestic, penal code, public international law and treaties, 4 UN.
Now, listen. I want for you to understand this area we are now. This area is what they said, future, protest, agitation leader, government in exile leader. Now, look at how it's been treated. Primary legal arena, municipal of domestic penal code will be used to judge a leader of organization that using protest and agitation. Then for government in exile leader will be judged with public international law and treaties. Public international law and what? Treaties. Let's continue. Now, co-UN framework. Then for the leader who is under using organization, protest and agitation, what will happen? Article 2 in bracket 7, non-interference in internal affair is what they used to judge Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. This is how they would treat such a leader who was being arrested under organization that are using protest, agitation to move on. Then without them to transition, the leader will be used this Article 2 in bracket 7 to judge him. They said that no country, no organization, no international court will do what? Non-interference in internal affairs of Nigeria government. Now, government in exile, UN Charter Article 2, Article 1 in bracket 2 and 55, right to self-determination of having a right for a new nation. This is law that has already been there. You see that these two leaders have different rules and different law that guides two of them. Okay, let's continue. Legal classification, citizens domestic under the law of the Nigeria court on the name of, in the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Now for Simon Ekpa, sovereign representative, prisoner of war of conscience as a prime minister of a new nation that is seeking for recognition, that have been declared through a government in exile. The government rule, legitimate state prosecuting a local law on a leader of organization. Accost occupying power, holding political hostage. You see how these two leaders is being treated in different ways. You see how the law works. When you are on a right track, the law treats you right. When you are on the track that is not on the legal path, we are only telling you as IPOB member to move on a legal path. The legal path is usually declared. IPOB is an illegal path. This is how it is.
Framework. Article 2(7), non-interference in internal affairs. Article 1, 2, and 55, right to self-determination. Legal classification, citizen/domestic dissident, sovereign representative/prisoner of war. The government's role, legitimate state prosecuting a local lawbreaker, accused occupying power, holding a political hostage, the takeaway. A protest group fights within the system to change it, leaving its leader vulnerable to that system's local laws. A government in exile creates a competing system under international law, giving its leader a legal shield the local courts cannot easily penetrate without violating global treaties.
Are you hearing it now? Take away, please. That is the link in case you want to join. But I ask you, please like and share. A protest group fighting within the system to change its level, its leader variably to that system local way. Please, 1 minute. It's a very important call which I must answer coming from office. Please.
Down to one core concept in legal science: international legal personality. Under public international law, courts can only apply global treaties and international frameworks if the entity involved has achieved a recognized status beyond being a domestic group. 1. Why protest and agitation leaders are judged by local laws. When a leader commands an organization that limits its activities to local protests, rallies, and civil agitation, international courts and foreign governments view the situation through the lens of domestic jurisdiction. The principle of state sovereignty. A cornerstone of the modern world is Article 2(7) of the United Nations Charter, which strictly prohibits the UN and foreign states from intervening in matters that are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state. Lack of sovereign status. An agitation or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or a non-state actor. Because it does not claim or structurally operate as a separate government, it operates under the host country's legal system. The criminal law trap. When a government arrests a protest leader, they do not charge them with fighting for freedom. Instead, they use their municipal penal code to charge them with domestic felonies, such as treason, unlawful assembly, incitement, or breaching public order. Under international law, a sovereign country has the absolute right to enforce its own criminal laws within its borders. 2. Why a government in exile and redeclaration shifts to international law. When an organization formally transitions into a government in exile, GIE, and issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty, it completely changes its legal DNA. It stops acting like a domestic pressure group and starts acting like a state, asserting independent statehood. By forming a GIE, the movement actively invokes the 1933 Montevideo Convention, Article 3, which states that a country's legal existence is independent of whether other countries recognize it. The GE asserts that it is the de jure, rightful, legal authority over a territory, and that the arresting government is merely a de facto, temporary, physical, occupying force. Transforming an internal matter into an international dispute, a local court can only judge its own.
Yes, so Wada, I see you in the building. Wada Ngozi, please have the mic. You are welcome to the program.
Mazi, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon from here, Wada.
Yeah, well, Biafra, I greet everyone. So I have a question because Hanon Noro, come here, sharp. Please,
Okay.
all Biafrans, I greet everyone. So I greet everyone. So my question goes like this, Chino. I know all Biafrans, we are listening now. And sometimes if you ask a question, you want generalize everything so that some Biafrans that we listen to or the one that we listen later we know. So I want to ask you right now, because these laws that you are teaching is I thank you so much, because this history, I so much love history very well. And I want to know, or Biafra, we Biafrans want to know, and or let me put it in myself, want to know, this law that you're bringing, is it not the same judgment between Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpan? No, because I saw the way that you are reading the law out. So the law, is it different in sense that the law that hold Onyelu, is it not the one that hold Simon Ekpan? And what make it so different between both of them? What made that law different between Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and our PM Simon Ekpan? Please, I want to know.
Thank you. That is why I said we need to remove emotion. I always use that word, but let's put the record straight. They did not have they have two different law. Because of what? One is organization. One is law of a government. One is a government in exile that issue a peaceful declaration. That one has really declared a sovereignty, that the leader is fighting for a sovereign nation. That he's fighting for a sovereignty of a nation. And that nation has been redeclared because of it was lost. They are not the same. This one is a leader who uses the name of organization. When you have organization you are using to do protests or used to fight for freedom, they said, when such a leader who remain under organization that handles protests, agitation, or all these things IPOB is doing, that leader, the law is under the law of Nigeria. But a government in exile has a law under the international global stage. That is why Alexander Stubb told our DPM or government to USB that they should go and fight for Simon Ekpa or Biafra through a legal means. Organization is under a country. Which country? Nigeria. As this where the organization was being, those who are doing that protest remain under the territory of Nigeria. So whatever you are doing, they said you will be judged with the local law of Nigeria. And once they arrested you as a leader of organization, that the country law of the local law of Nigeria, let me use Nigeria to understand it clearly, that Nigeria will use that you are not fighting for freedom, that you are one, a secessionalist. Number two, you are bringing insecurity and insurgency. On that they will use treason, felony, terrorist to charge that based on the local level, because he remains as organization that does not have a backup law under international. It is a personal private matter, which the UN Charter Article 2 as na Mazi Nnamdi Kanu lack the principle of a sovereign state, that the cornerstone in the modern day world is the Article 2 in bracket 7 of the United Nations Charter, which strictly prohibits anybody to interfere into the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because it is internal judicial matter of Nigeria government. Then at Article 8 it said lack of sovereign status, lack of sovereignty status, which is that this is an organization. They said what? He is not fighting with a separate government. Remember, organization is not a government, but a government in exile is a structured government of a sovereign state despite lacking a sovereignty. If this leader was arrested, his massacre will be treated as a prime minister under international law of someone who is fighting for a lost country, that have a government in exile that issue a peaceful redeclaration. IPOB is not a government. It is organization that their law, that Nigeria law covers them all. That is why the UN said in a modern day world, the modern day world starts from 2001 or the 21st century law that governs everything. So whatever IPOB is doing as an organization relies on the local law of Nigeria government of that state you are trying to protest against. You see how the world make it open. That is why when they said UN has come out and released, nothing has happened. That's when they said I basically cut off Washington DC, call for this, nothing has happened, because of it is internal, because of it's a leader of organization. That's why we're trying to let them know that they need to accept that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a leader of United States of Biafra. Then his status will not be treated under the internet, under the local law. He's going to change to international law. I hope you got my answer. They are not the same.
Yes. Okay, I got the answer. I want to ask another thing. Thank
Go
you
on.
very much for explaining to me and Biafrans, us to know those that their mind is shifting, or those who are using emotion in this our freedom. I still want to ask another thing, and that my question goes like this. So as Nnamdi Kanu, I think Nnamdi Kanu has a right to abolish, or abolish IPOB entirely, and
Yes.
and
Is the answer.
and another thing again, please, just another thing. If our maybe Onyendu did not abolish it, and this one that they are pushing, that Onyendu have restored, Onyendu have appointed another people to replace those former ones. Is this all these things that they are doing, activities, all those new IPOP now, they are carried new of IPOP, all these activities, they are doing according to them, as they are saying in social media about this. Let me use that. Let me use what's it called, normal language we are using on them before, and men on the ground. Because I see, I listened to one of them this morning said that the new one that they have submitted all their documents all over the world, that they are pushing to release our Onyendu, which Nnamdi Kanu. So in these activities now that they are doing, they are pushing and they are doing, is it going to affect Onyendu in the in the Nigeria courts?
The truth remains is going to affect him. That is the truth of the matter. If any day they present that I am the new DOS that Mazan Kanu elected and it's come to the ears of Nigeria with paper and document, it's going to affect him seriously. They are endangering his life and his case more than the way it is right now. Because you cannot be in prison with the offense that was being charged you for, and you still acting from the prison, proving that you have the authority to less the no people. That still means that what will charge you, oh, so you never stop, you continue. Then they will now tighten up the case more and more. They are dangerous as an Nandekan. You know when this Sokoto declaration was raging everywhere, at last it is obvious that Mazen Nandekan did not know about Sokoto declaration. Kanu Takano and Aloy Ejimako and their group are the one piloting this shenanigan they are doing this time around. It's not by Mazen Nandekan. So IPO, anything under IPOB is endangering Mazen Nandekan more and more. And all the leaders, which is my evening program, I want to give you 5 leaders in Africa that was being sentenced under the local law and keep in prison until the people outside the transit went in exile and issued the declaration of that lost country or declared their country before their all was being released after recognition of those countries. So whatever anybody is doing today with them of IPOB, they are helping Nigeria to destroy Mazen Nandekan more and more with all these articles of the law. The only way we save Mazen Nandekan for them to stop their madness. And the Aloy Ejimako, that's why I am asking somebody who know how I can tag Aloy Ejimako very well with all these documents to write Aloy Ejimako, explain this to Mazen Nandekan, stop killing Mazen Nandekan with that shenanigan you are doing. So everything in IPOB is what they are doing. They are endangering Mazen Nandekan. And I will also prove to you a leader that such a thing happened, that leader still remain in prison till today, as I'm talking to you, for over 58 years. This leader still remain in prison because of the name of organization. So all those things, those their madness, they don't know what they are doing. That is lack of, that is the ignorance that is disturbing our people. That is our problem. Until they change their ignorance and accept this truth that we Mazen Nandekan, that is the only way. Despite that, whatever they are doing, or submit those letters. See, when if I have, oh yes, I have done it here. Any document being submitted under the name of IPOB is being seen as illegal document, which is lies only on what self-determination rights, that they were asked Nigeria to treat them rights. That is how, as an organization, non-state actor, it doesn't hold ground, nothing at all. So what they are doing is going to affect Mazen Nandekan with the local law of Nigeria government, that this case is under their jurisdiction. That is it.
Maazị, ekene gị nke ukwuu. Maazị, I thank you so much. And I still thank all Biafrans. We should not be ashamed to ask any kind of question. It's to educate one of us and to let those that champion our IPOB know. And also, you Biafrans, you see how sometimes when we call the family of our Onyendu Nnamdi Kanu out, some people is against it. Some people will say, why are you people calling them? Why we are calling them? Because we don't want our Onyendu to die. We don't want our Onyendu something to happen to him. Because you know, in every country, like this country I am, their prime minister, because they don't have president, their prime minister, or any country that have president, he don't he don't longer serve your family anymore. It's just like your army. Army, so far as you took they took their oath, or any police or any force, you are no more you are no more 100%, you know, on your family anymore. You see, because Awoniendo is not Okukano family 100% anymore, because it belongs to us, we Biafrans. Let us leave emotion away, because this emotion, you guys, some of you guys will use emotion, eh? And that emotion will not, it will lead Onyendo to die. Let us face the Etobai. I'm sorry for Etobai. Let us face the reality. Let all those people stop their madness and come and raise this USB, so that eh, we'll fight these Nigerian people, so that we'll take Onyendo out of that dungeon. Because I don't know why people will know the truth, and then they don't want to come and to listen and ask a question, because of position. Position cannot lead you anywhere. I want to tell the siblings of Onyendo, Kanu Takano, and the rest people. We are praying to Onyendo to be alive, to come out, and it will come out very soon. And who will make it to happen? Not you people organization, not this IPOP that they appoint now, that you people are speculating that they are working, they are submitting the documents. You people see how our brother, I asked a question and he answered with proof and excuse me, with the law, the way the international, you know, the way they everything. It's not him who wrote all those laws. He researched it and they get it. You know, you people should stop endangering our Onyendo life again. Stop. If they pay you people, if they pay you Kanu Takano, this is your blood, brother we are talking about. This is your blood brother we are talking about. Oh, we hear Diche. Ofo Balakunusi. Stop and just swallow your pride. So whatever that you have did in the past, Dr. Ngozi is always saying it. Come and embrace this, our declaration. I don't know why you people I want to more be endangering our Onyendo life. Okay, look at this law now. Eh? I'm not happy about it. Likewise, thousands, millions of Biafra, they're not still happy. Eh? What is wrong with you people? Eh? Is it government? Nobody is above government. Eh? Forget about this Nigeria government. All those the shenanigans that they're doing. In the diaspora, everybody knows how government works. Nobody. And our own is not going to be different. Our constitution is in Amazon. I know you guys will be go the Amazon and saw it and say, what is this? What is you are looking at outside? Inside different than outside. You better go and buy it and research. Don't come and be putting your brother in danger, more danger. And then all the cabinet. I use this opportunity to greet all our cabinet. Dr. Ngozi Orabeze, Nemo Gadri Ginama. I'm still saying it, and I will not stop saying this word. It's you, Dr. Ngozi Orabeze, will save our Simon Ekpamejob, our Prime Minister, with a government. It's still you will save your brother, our president, Nnamdi Okukano, nobody else. And I thank you so much by taking the bullets and by taking the risk to do what? To declare our nation. I thank those that their signature are there. Thank you people so much. And I still thank our brother, Chino. Don't say people should not be thanking you. Please, I beg you, don't use me to put others. Because without you, I cannot know what I know today be following you. May Chukwu Okike Abiama increase your knowledge. May Chukwu Okike
Yeah.
Abiama, you will be alive. You see this our leg. Our leg will touch our Biafra land. And that barrier, because your junior brother is still in the mortuary, because of IPOP1 family, make them to kill your brother. And you know the thing that yes, they are researching today, that may all your family, may this word that we declare console your family. And may all the love you will go to Ihala to give our brother the burial he needed. And all the people that died, even if Consul is not buried the way we're supposed to bury them, name them uncountable. I thank you so much. May Chukwuka Biama keep all our mothers, our fathers, our relations, our nephews, our governors, that 40 state of Biafra. May Chukwu Okike gbaa ndị our army ume and mekene onye ọbụla ana m asị ebo we move.
Thank you, Wanda. You are on point. Thank you so much for that. You know that happens to me. This is my culture, or when we have a culture of life. If you ask my mother to do we're gonna marry him to now and ask him my way thanks to God, because all God provide that thing for me. Won't provide it. It's God just used me to. That is why I always said, for me, since I was born, I don't accept thank you. That is me, my own life. What I accepted is thanks to God, thanks to Chukwu. Me, I'm nobody. That is always how I see my life. That is always see my. That is why you see thank you or calling all these big names is not what I am. Just let me do the right thing. And one, to please my conscience to satisfy, yes, I did the right. That is me. Once I'm doing the right thing, I'm good. But I won't stop Biafrans for do what is in their mind. That is it. Please, I urge you to like and share the program. One thing that I want you to know is this. This thing now, you see where we are. I keep on using my word. Emotion will not help us. You might do not like the way I'm sounding, but this is why I'm sounding today is the real. You see this thing IPOB is doing. They are endangering Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The danger. I said what? They are bent on endangering Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's life. And I don't know why they could not ask themselves, as of this time, they could not type on common Google, what is the meaning of government in exile? What is the legal backup of government in exile? They could not type, what is the difference between IPOB as organization and government in exile? This is the question that puts me on a right track. When Obi was talking about government in exile, I don't know difference between government in exile and the organization called IPOB. I was full oath taker. You know what they said? I was a full oath member of IPOB. I never knew the difference until I start asking questions. When they ban it, no when you are an IPOB, you want a question, you brought your job. Under IPOB, you do a question, you brought your job. Eh? This is what these people refuse to. understand na aga na-ajụ ajụjụ wee jụta ụzọ na aga na ka ebe onye a si gafere nsi ebe onye a si ụzọ dịkwa ya ọsọ na Biafra movement ka ọ ga-eme isi akwa n'ụzọ ya ọdọ si ọ bụrụzie iwu dị daa n'iwu. I want all of us and every of us to know Biafra has been declared. Now we are on the legal path. We are no longer on the side of ignorance. We are no longer on ignorance that is not an excuse in the eyes of the law. Since over all these years, we are on the ignorance that is not an excuse in the eyes of the law. The new one, so ihe a ka a bịara ihe anyị na-agụ agba anyị wọtọwọtọ ihe anyị na-agụ ihe a ka anyị nọ na-agụ eti anyị alịka akwụ aka na-agụkwu ya today. How could you be doing one thing anyị megoro nsoro gị wee mee until Simon Ekpa change everything? Immediately he registered Briggy. Immediately he introduced comment in exile and it was being registered. That is when we start doing another different thing. That is they giving all the results you are seeing. If they like, let IPOB. See, I want you to know one thing. They're what they call a multiple dimension in movement. IPOB is doing one thing. You know what they are doing? They are shouting to Mars in Nangan to be released. They are not sure that Biafra should be a country because none of them know how to make Biafra to become a country. And any area you submit this to your document with the name of IPOB organization that is not a government, it's just formality. It's a story that touches the heart, but there is no action on it. We have submitted documents everywhere in the world. And you refuse that word or those that stand on a legal path. You refuse to understand it. That the world will stand on a legal path. You refuse. You refuse to remove the ignorance that is all over you. Our own has become ignoramus that is in the DNA of all these IPOB members.
The reason these two types of leaders are treated so differently comes down to one core...
Listen, the reason why these two leaders are being treated differently. That two of them, Simon Ekpa case is going to treat on international level. Why Mazen Kanu will treat under local level of one Nigeria government. Please like and share as we are running up.
In legal
If
science,
you want to join, you can join us now. Use the link.
Under public international law, courts can only apply global treaties and international frameworks if the entity involved has achieved a recognized status beyond being a domestic group. 1. Why protest and agitation leaders are judged by local laws. When a leader commands an organization that limits its activities to local protests, rallies, and civil agitation, international courts and foreign governments view the situation through the lens of domestic jurisdiction. The principle of state sovereignty. A cornerstone of the modern world is Article 2.7 of the United Nations
Listen
Charter,
to the cornerstone of
which
the
strictly
world,
prohibits
the
the
modern
UN
day
and foreign
world,
states from
where everything
intervening in
lies
matters that
on
are
Martin
essentially within the
Nandikan
domestic
and what we are doing
jurisdiction of
to
any
him.
state. Lack of sovereign status. An agitation or protest group, no matter how large or peaceful, is legally classified as a domestic civil association or a non-state actor. Because it does not claim or structurally operate as a separate government, it operates under the host country's legal system. The criminal law trap. When a government arrests a protest leader, they do not charge them with fighting for freedom. Instead, they use their municipal penal code to charge them with domestic felonies, such as treason, unlawful assembly, incitement, or breaching public order. Under international law, a sovereign country has the absolute right to enforce its own criminal laws within its borders. 2. Why a government in exile and redeclaration shifts to international law. When an organization formally transitions into a government in exile, GIE, and issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty, it completely changes its legal DNA. It stops acting like a domestic pressure group and starts acting like a state, asserting independent statehood. By forming a GIE, the movement actively invokes the 1933 Montevideo Convention, Article 3, which states that a country's legal existence is independent of whether other countries recognize it. The GE asserts that it is the de jure, rightful, legal authority over a territory, and that the arresting government is merely a de facto, temporary, physical, occupying force. Transforming an internal matter into an international dispute, a local court can only judge its own citizens. But when a recognized GIE claims that the arrested leader is their head of state, prime minister, or a high-ranking diplomat, the legal argument changes. International lawyers can argue that a domestic court has zero jurisdiction to put a foreign sovereign official on trial, activating international humanitarian law. By issuing a formal, peaceful redeclaration, the GIE frames the situation not as a domestic riot, but as a self-determination conflict protected under Article 1.4 of Geneva Protocol 1. This framework covers peoples fighting against alien occupation or colonial domination. Under this international treaty, an arrested leader can be classified as a political prisoner of war or a captive state representative, removing them from the jurisdiction of local felony courts. Direct legal comparison: feature, protest and agitation leader, government in exile leader, primary legal arena, municipal, domestic, penal code, public international law and treaties, core UN framework. Article 2(7), non-interference in internal affairs. Article 1, 2, and 55, right to self-determination. Legal classification: citizen/domestic dissident, sovereign representative/prisoner of war. The government's role: legitimate state prosecuting a local lawbreaker, accused occupying power, holding a political hostage. The takeaway: a protest group fights within the system to change it, leaving its leader vulnerable to that system's local laws. A government in exile creates a competing system under international law, giving its leader a legal shield the local courts cannot easily penetrate without violating global treaties.
I hope you had it. And this is where I'm going to end the program. The only thing I ask you that anytime you watch, I want you to like and share until I come back again in the evening time. Maybe in the next few hours, I will be back again. So I urge you to like and share. We are here to give you those things that we need to do this time around and how to stay to the cost that we are into. Biafra movement has moved from ignorance of law to be on a legal part of it. IPOB is illegality. IPOB is ignorance of law. Usually declared is legal, and that is where the law works for us. Thank you. Until I come back again. Yes, before I close it, I see you are gone. You are not only alloy, but Canon Tattoo and New DOS. Honestly, if it's we will do that, whatever we do for this movement, we'll do. DM me. Please, my brother, I don't have your number. My WhatsApp number is this: +973360513337. That is my number. So contact me. Let us talk, please. That is my number. That is my number. The number is +9733360513337. For the last time, +9733360513337. Please contact me. Let us do the work together. Honestly, contact me. Thank you, Lawrence. I see you. I see all of you. Thank you. Wanda, yes, you are right. Mazdan Kanonyendu aware of all this international law. Yes, he might be aware, but he never is at this stage. There is things he must break down. The only why I know he knows it because when I believe Mazdan can know all these things, when he mentioned government in exile with his mouth, because the only legal part is what? Government in exile. Bro, this is maximum 3 hours. I will come back again in the next 3-4 hours for us to continue on the second part of this, where I want to present to you 5 leaders in Africa that was arrested under the same way Mahatma Gandhi is being arrested, sentenced, and how they come out. I will have it here. I will come back again to discuss that. So watch out as when we come back again. If you're not in our WhatsApp group, try to use the same number I called you is the number on our WhatsApp group where I post also. You can read and send to anyone you want. You can go from that after program now. I will forward all these things bit by bit to paragraph to paragraph to the group. I also sometimes speak about and they also analyze it there. So you can also forward to all these okokos. Anyone you have, ask them to read. Tell them to read. Biafra government, Australia. Okay, thank you, my brother. Please, every since of the USB of Biafra need to share the program to those who are still ignorant. Yes, it's time to move away from all this ignorance. This is a time. Brother Shino, can the IPOB know that they are no more doing good to Mazinandi? Can let the lawyer contact him to USB. He is USB leader. The man who have done everything he knows, he's playing his card, he's playing his game. So don't worry about them. USB has done everything. Send document to Aloy Ejimako and his men. They have it. Hashtag, I am a citizen of United States of Biafra forever. Nigeria must go out of Biafra territory now. May Almighty Elohim continue to bless Biafra. He said, thank you so much, brother Ebube. I see you. Thank you. Biafra government also said Nigeria is illegally in Biafra land and they must leave United States of Biafra territory immediately. Yes, we have already declared it. So I greet all of you. Peter, I greet you. Esther Okwes, I greet you. Please, Biafran son, I greet all of you. Oh, my brother, all the way from Biafra homeland. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Goshuku. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I thank all of you, Amy Toki. I thank all of you once again. We are going to leave it here. But before I leave it, I will play something for you. After that, you end the program. You end the program. So listen to this.
In international relations and public international law, the specific scenario where an organization transitions into a government in exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration, secures international recognition, ECO-AIM, and uses that newly achieved legal status to compel a foreign government to release its arrested leader operates under strict legal frameworks. This strategy works by using specific principles of international law to turn a domestic prison sentence into an international diplomatic standoff, ultimately securing the leader's release.
Please, I ask you to do one favor. Touch the emoji law because at the closing of the program, we are under attack. Please.
And faces life imprisonment
just the emoji law. They are start withdrawing the likes.
Government labels them a common criminal or
we are under
insurgent.
attack.
The organization
so please hit the like, hit that emoji law. You don't know any money from you. Is to prove that the message people are watching.
The transition to a GE.
Please.
The organization establishes a formal administrative structure outside the home territory in a sympathetic host nation. They assign a strict continuity of authority, often led by a designated official like a chief of staff, to prove that the movement has an organized, functioning bureaucratic command.
Yeah, you see this program, this voice I'm playing, we are going to do it today, this evening. Prove to the world said that for a government in exile to prove a structure when a leader is arrested, that the chief of staff is the one to pilot the affair. That simply means that they have a well-structured government in exile. See this program? We are going to do it today. So for those who are making money outside there, you can continue your shenanigans. Say, your network is very bad. I think go out, come back again. Wada, please. Go out and come back again. Network is bad. Your mic was not cut. Okay, leave it now. It's okay. Yes. Please have the mic. That's what I'm rounding up. Have the mic. Ogonia?
Yeah,
yes, go on.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
Okay. Since you're rounding up, I'm not going to take much time. Besides me, I'm at work. So I just want to ask one question. It's not really a question, there is a kind of. Now, our sister that just spoke asked a question that you were explaining, of which you have totally explained it. Now the difference is now, what of us, our DPN said that they have adopted, because I was on the meeting the day he made that statement. Now the Biafra has been declared, and the battle is between Mazi and Mazi Simon. How is it possible for the same law that apply to Simon to apply to Mazi, Mazi
Okay.
Nnamdi?
The
How
only
is
way
it
it can
possible for the
apply
same thing?
is when Mazen Nandekano being addressed as a prisoner of conscience under USB declared. That is only when it will be applied. But if they continue to address him as the leader of IPOB, it can never be applied. Or if the government will do what they call adopted protocol law, adopt Mazen Kano by themselves to announce him as the president of United States of Biafra was already declared through government in exile. This is the only two options. He left for the government to do that. He left the government to do that. This is only when the same law will be applied
And,
to him.
okay. And another thing is this. You make mention of if anybody can have a link of Aloy Jimakor and to tag him. Fine. What I want to suggest is this. Even if you cannot tag Aloy Jimakor, maybe he might not even read it, because the way I am hearing things that people are tagging him and also calling on him, he does not show response to those things. I want to make a suggestion. Why can't you find a way of tagging the brother of Nnamdi Kanu?
One is that I don't know his S handle, or that's what. In fact, I have a too much work. You see, all this research give me more concern. There's many things I don't even my time could not allow me to do. Today I am only here because of I went to night duty. I came back this morning. I look at where I am right now. After here today night is like my off day. Tomorrow I start morning duty. That's why I said I will come 2 times today. So the time I have, one is I don't know his S handle. If I know, I will also tag him. If you even come
I
across
think
the I
if
would.
you request
So if you
for
pass his
it, people
WhatsApp,
can send it.
his handle, send me the handle on my WhatsApp, then I will follow him or then I will tag him. We want them to know that they are killing Mazen and the Kano. They are not helping him.
Yes, yes, yes. And the early they act is better. The early they act, because I can see so many of them gallivanting, they are all working in ignorance. And also, if there is anybody in the platform or in the comment that can even get their information, even the newly appointed ones, if they can
Yes,
have any of their information.
yes. I am ready to do all that once I have their contact. Because if you can have a time after program, I will still put it on our WhatsApp group and analyze it also there. I can limit my time to do it.
Because we something has to be done, because I can see these people are just wallowing in ignorance.
That is why
They are
Biafra has never
wallowing in
come.
ignorance.
But if Simon never
And
comes
even
before.
the new appointed ones, although I don't know any of them, if there is anybody that knows them or know any way that you can be tagging or connected to them, at least let them, before they will start their new job, so that they will not start causing a nuisance again. Let me just use that word. They will know the right thing to do. Because I expected that those ones that are there, that have been able to know things and hear things, what they would have done is to call on the government. Now we are now a new people appointed. I want us to work hand in hand, what and what and what. See. But you will find out that they will start doing their own, killing the man the more. Because only one issue, my rebel is onye yi shuu ma ebe a na-epi nchi ya, gị nwa na outside amaghị ihe onye nọ inside na-ahụ. You don't know. So that is what I want to suggest. In case anybody in the platform that knows how you can get a contact of any of these people, please let's do so. If I have any of their contact, I would have committed. If I don't know any of them, I don't have their contact.
Yeah, what I want is their
Thank
contact
you,
on the
sir. Let
S
me not
handle. So from there we can move on. Just to pass the message to them, they are all devil. Honestly, they all are hearing everything. These people, the ignorant or the selfish proud. You know, there is two things about this life. One is that when you are ignorant. Two is when you have over proud. It mess you up. Over proud
are
of
you
these people is
proud?
not.
Are you being proud on somebody between the life and the death?
That
You
is it.
shouldn't be proud. The life of somebody is at stake. You sold all your pride to make sure that you save that life first. Then when you save the life, if you can be proud all the way in your life, you have the time to do so. You have the time to do so. Because I know that if Mazi have known all these things, all this while, if they are feeding him with a correct information, the man is a wise man. He would have done unthinkable to get himself out of that place. But they are not feeding him with the correct information. I don't know the kind of information they do pass to him
That
whenever they
is it.
go there.
He might know the
And
law.
also,
Mazda kind of might know the law, but there is difference between somebody explain in details where we are right now. That is when he has to. If not
why they are
know
not
where
giving
we
it to him?
are, what IPOB name
I
can
think,
do to him, he will banish it. He will be the one to punish the IPOB
I think,
organization.
I think that the government should also do something in this regard.
The government has
I
done
know
their
that they
own.
are doing.
The government has done their own. They have sent everything to those that are supposed to develop Mazda and Kano. They keep on denying. If you believe today that Butozo was being that USB lowered themselves to send document to Butozo, and he's doing this rubbish, he's doing this. So that is how you know how they parole. See, our people, because of Nigeria, could not allow us to read history. Nigeria could not allow us to know what is called how law works. So nobody believes in law in Nigeria. Both those who are under claiming they're fighting for Biafra, until Simon ever come with the law. Until Robert told you, now come with the law. That is the truth of the matter. It's the
Oh,
pure
that's
truth.
also.
So the only thing I like that USB focus acting like a state or a nation, not acting like a group. That is my happiness. Doing their thing, putting it in every way it's supposed to be. So that is why I'm telling everybody, support this government. You are the one holding. Take your ID card. Come to fundraising. I said, DM me the account of fundraising. I have it. I will give it to you. Don't send to my account. I am not donating for you. Send that to the government. Send that to the government. Let them use and do something. Money is involved. Okwu ije dey involved. Onu okwu dey involved. Ego dey involved. Do your part. Don't stay on the fence. Now that we are on the legal part, I will come back. We want to a program of this evening. We have two sessions. I will start from giving it right for you to know that the international community, the under international law, that they said when a leader is being arrested, that the person who is on proving that this is a government structure, that it fall on the head or the shoulder of the chief of staff to pilot their movement, proving that this is a well-structured government. I will come back to that program today again. For this Okoko them. For this Okoko. So, like I said, I'm going to leave it because of my time. Then I will come back again. So much can give me the sense to come back. I will come back again. We have a lot to give out. So Biafra, stay to the cost. USB or USB, nothing more than that. First time we have walked away from ignoramus, and now we stand on a legal path. We stand on humble movement. That is where we are at this stage. So do not move. Do not panic. Do not move. USB or USB, no other one. So I thank you. Turn notification on. You know what we do here? We are having a little bit, we are the one having a small followers. But also what matters is that the message is that those who follow understand it. I am not here to preach you. I am not here to analyze any Biafran, all these fraudsters who claim they are fighting for Biafra. That's why I'm not here for them. because all those things are part of the ignorance holding us. I don't have time to analyze any of them. You, if you know truth, you know the truth. No matter how they preach you, if you want to stand on the truth, you shall surely stand on the truth. Nobody advises you to know the truth. You know it by yourself, because what makes you a human being, the ability of left and right, you know within yourself, despite then when you are compromised. So stay to the cost, USB or USB, no other one. The legal part. I told the IPOB is illegality. USB is legal. IPOB is ignorance of the law. IPOB, ignorance. That is what we're using on them. Not IPOB, one family. IPOB, ignorance of the law. That is who they are. That is who they are. So please, thank you so much. We will come back again. I want to thank you, our sister Flora Kubilo. You do what you normally do. You give us a special the way you normally support the page. I thank you so much. I saw it right now, what you sent to me to support me. Thank you so much. May Elohim bless you. May he protect you. May anywhere you're getting this money from, may he never dry. And anywhere you work, may they pay you all your good work that you are doing. Thank you so much for that. One love. We move. Ushenna.